What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9sa Chapter 291 Destroying the Evil Blood Moon Project Shattering 3 Views. Chapter 291 Destroying the Evil Blood Moon Project Shattering 3 Views. Going down one step deeper, one step shallower, winding down, he found that there were various paintings inside the lighthouse, like spells or recording a strange battle. Going all the way to the innermost, Uchiha Qiye hung the lamp in his hand on the wall, and the scene of the entire basement was completely presented. That black aura is still lingering around, although there is no human aura at all, but the people who lived here are really evil. There were 14 different patterns painted on the mural, some of which Uchiha Qiye could recognize, and some who didn't know what it was at all. The things that can be recognized are some ancient Sanskrit mantras. Although Uchiha Qiye has not learned these mantras, he has no teacher to understand the meaning of the mantras since he has the eternal eye. Destroy, destroy, destroy the whole world. Manipulate the moonlight and let everything in the world enter into eternal reincarnation. Die, destroy, and let this sinful world be completely cleansed. Doomsday, horror fable, the whole ninja world will enter eternal death. All the incantations poured into Uchiha Kai's mind. He didn't know how to translate them, but he really understood the meaning of the incantations. A terrifying feeling filled his heart, and Uchiha Qiye felt that Mi Hong was simply a lunatic. Advertisement at the same time, a question lingered in Uchiha Kai's mind, that is, where did Mi Hong learn these spells? Did the original owner of Rinnegan naturally understand these evil and crazy things? Uchiha Qiye took a closer look and found that there were still some remains of seafood, as well as a pile of matches. Prove that there are people who have lived here for a long time. In a remote corner, exuding a more intense evil atmosphere, Uchiha Qiye walked over out of curiosity, and at a glance saw the reincarnation formation that only the most advanced Rinnegan could draw. Well, this is a real hammer. Only Mi Hong has the highest level of Rinnegan in this world. It seems that he has lived here for a long time. Uchiha Qiye knocked on the stone in the middle of this formation, and found that there are some hollow parts inside, presumably a deeper secret is under this stone. Because Uchiha Qiye, who has opened the eyes of eternity, can also see through this stone at a glance, there must be something unusual. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of beating sound proved that what he saw was not an illusion, so the lightning-style chakra suddenly filled his hand, and the stone of the formation method was completely blown away with a bang. And everything below suddenly shocked Uchiha Qiye. It is a mysterious pattern, which is wrapped around in circles, like a very ancient ceremony, and in this pattern is a red blood moon. That blood moon will naturally radiate blood light, just very dim. This light creates a chaotic chakra, which is echoing the other three directions. Uchiha Qiye jumped straight down. Seeing this evil blood moon, he finally knew what Mi Hong's evil plan was. That is, after he has the Eye of Eternity, the blood moon energy prepared in the four directions of the world's south, south, and northwest will be gathered. Chapter 292 The Prophecy of the Dragon Slayer Boy Eventually Becomes a Devil. Chapter 292 The Prophecy of the Dragon Slayer Boy Eventually Becomes a Devil. Eventually a giant blood moon echoes the celestial moon in the sky. Then open the illusion of the eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye, forcing everyone in this world into an eternal illusion. At this time, all real people will involuntarily stop all actions in their hands, and then people all over the world will become a lost world. A veritable world that is slowly waiting to die. How horrific and ridiculous this would be. The thunderbolt in Uchiha Kai's hand suddenly soared, and the lightning burst into a strong bright light in this dark basement. Suddenly shining above the blood moon full of spirituality, and the blood moon seems to have life. An eternal Mangekyo blood wheel eye appeared above the blood moon, looking at Uchiha Qiye wickedly. And Uchiha Qiye knew that the blood moon must have the same mind with Mi Hong, and wanted to stop Uchiha Qiye. Advertisement, but he would never be soft-hearted, and the Chidori lightning style in his hand exploded with the greatest power, mercilessly smashing towards the blood moon. Boom. Even though the blood moon didn't have any human organs, it still screamed miserably when Uchiha Qiye was bombarded, and a large amount of blood spurted out from the blood moon's body, splashing directly on Uchiha Kai's body. In the end, nothing was left of the bombed blood moon, and the chaotic chakra airflow became normal immediately. However, in this tunnel, the evil aura left by the original owner has not been alleviated at all. It can only be said that Mi Hong must have lived here for many years, and a lot of blood moons created by his mind have been abolished. But after Uchiha Qiye appeared, it only took one move to destroy his years of hard work. And similar to this kind of magic circle, there are still two places in the whole ninja world. Over the years, Mi Hong has really worked hard. Uchiha Qiye didn't want to stay in such a disgusting place for a second, so he immediately ran out holding the light. When we got to the lighthouse, watching the ebb and flow of the tide, the air became fresher, and the mood became much more relaxed. But just when Uchiha Qiye was just relaxing, a sound came from out of nowhere. Advertisement. You can't stop me, you can never stop me, the ninja world will perish, mix. Dirty and smelly, this reminds Uchiha Qiye of a sentence, the prophecy that the Dragon Slayer will eventually become a dragon. It's impossible to tell where the voice came from, but it floated beside Uchiha Kai's ears clearly and clearly. This voice belonged to Mi Hong. Even if it turned to ashes, Uchiha Qiye could still hear it. This intuition makes no sense at all, it is the intuition from the eternal eye. Uchiha Kai's mood became very irritable, and the joy after completing the task disappeared, because there was a very strong intuition that Mi Hong might really succeed in the plan. He looked at his black windbreaker, which was still filled with good money, that he had just splattered with blood after the blood moon exploded. After a few whistles, there was no more sound. Uchiha Qiye immediately took off the dirty clothes, and fire style erupted from his palms, burning all the black clothes clean, leaving nothing behind. He wore his own clothes and staggered back to the land of water. Chapter 293 finally ushered in the most explosive battle in history. Chapter 293 finally ushered in the most explosive battle in history. In the royal palace of the land of water, it was already afternoon, the sun was slowly going down, and the warm sunshine was shining on Terumi Mei's delicate face through the huge French windows. At this moment, there was a young girl kneeling in front of her, that was Lena. Lena told Terumi Mei everything Uchiha Qiye said in the morning. Terumi Mei's face turned gloomy, but it didn't surprise her, because she had long felt that Uchiha Qiye was hard to restrain. So Terumi Mei said, "Do you think he trusts you now?" Lena frowned and said, "I don't feel that I trust, nor do I distrust. He doesn't seem to care at all, because he doesn't care much about my loyalty to the person who will leave." 55. Terumi Mei also felt helpless about this sentence. It was true. No one planned to participate in the game, so why was there any need to know the game parameters? So Terumi Mei said, "You still have to fight and get into his trust system." After speaking, she seemed to remember something, and asked again, "Where has he been since he went out in the morning?" Advertisement: this is not Lena's strength, it belongs to Anbu's strength, so Anbu Minister Momochi walked out and said, "Kuinen, Uchiha Qiye walked from the market, to the park, to the opera house in the morning to take pictures with people, and then signed again, and kept walking towards the south." Terumi Mei thought for a while, there really is nothing in the south, so she asked again, "South? What is he doing over there?" Taudi said without cutting, "He changed into a black windbreaker and wore a black mask, and walked all the way to the southern highlands, but as soon as he reached the highlands, he disappeared out of thin air, and I don't know where he went again." As soon as these words came out, Terumi Mei was immediately furious, slapped her palm on the table, stood up angrily, "Becj," and said to Taudi, "What, you actually said you don't know where he went? It's so important, are you unable to complete the mission?" Monitoring such an important and crucial thing as Uchiha Qiye, as Minister of Anbu, could not do well. How could Terumi Mei not be angry? No matter how much Taudi didn't slash, he felt that he couldn't explain it, but Nei, Uchiha Kai's anti-tracking ability and ninjutsu were too strong, and they had no choice but to track. So Taudi said without cutting, "We have used the most advanced tracking technique, which is to lock the opponent's chakra breath, but the cosmic wave Qiye can actually disperse all his breath in an instant, and then stay in place at a very fast speed, disappearing. We are really helpless." Hearing this, Terumi Mei also felt a little puzzled and confused. How could someone be able to break up his chakra in an instant? Unless that person has multiple chakras running, how could the chakra that he has been running all along disappear? But then she thought, Uchiha Qiye already had multiple chakras, and it was no surprise that he was able to do it. So he sighed and said, "Okay, this person is indeed very special, I don't blame you for losing him." An angry Terumi Mei sat on her throne. She couldn't imagine that there was almost nothing in the south, the scenery was not good, and there was no place for businessmen and entertainment. Chapter 294 Teacher Bola. Chapter 294 Teacher Bola. Why did he go south? In fact, Taudi Zebujan is still thinking, and his Anbu's men have searched almost all of the southern highlands, but there is really no major discovery. So Taudi said without cutting it again, "This subordinate is incompetent." At this moment, Anbu's people directly called Taudi Zebujan through the transmission of induction, and told him all the traces found in the lighthouse. After listening, Taudi Zebujan reported directly to Terumi Mei, "Kagyo, he has been to the lighthouse and visited it, but there is nothing suspicious left, and he has never been known since there. Where did you go?" After listening to the report, Terumi Mei felt that it was necessary to go to the lighthouse to find out. This battle of gods was simply too elusive. "Okay, I understand, you all retire, and report immediately if anything happens." After Terumi Mei finished speaking, the two returned to their jobs. She went to the window sill and looked at the southern heights. It was just a very ordinary lighthouse, and it had been abandoned for many years, and no one went there at all, because it was unnecessary and meaningless. Advertisement: why does Shenzan like to go to that kind of place to find out? Is it because of ulterior motives? What secrets are buried? Or is it really just a coincidence to go in and see? Terumi Mei is a very active person, and if you are curious, you must find out. But at this moment, there was a strange knock on the door. There are many kinds of secret languages in the land of water, and ninjas with special positions have their own knocking frequency, which is a kind of advanced notification of password and identity. The reason why Terumi Mei felt strange was because she couldn't remember what the secret frequency was for a while, and she finally remembered it after thinking about it for a while. "It's my own master, Mr. Bola." Since it has been 10 years since he came back, even Terumi Mei is naturally unfamiliar with this voice. "Come in." Terumi Mei was very excited when her master came back. With a creak, the gate of the magnificent palace was opened, and a man with a bamboo hat walked in from the outside. This was to hide people's eyes and ears, because his return to the palace was also a secret. Katakana middle dot for flowers katakana middle dot advertisement. When he saw Terumi Mei, the man finally took the hat off his head. It is still the vicissitudes of life, but the tough and handsome Bola, the hero-like figure in the hearts of everyone in the country of water. In a blink of an eye, I have not seen him for 10 years. Of course, I miss him very much. I still feel very cordial to see him again. Bola and Terumi Mei reminisce about the old times and finally step into the theme. Mr. Bola. Since Terumi Mei was 8 years old, she was still a child and followed Mr. Bola through the most severe ninjutsu training. She took care of Terumi Mei until she became a master of ninjutsu at the age of 18, and then went to play in the mountains and play as a hermit. Because he knew that Terumi Mei must have something intractable that could not be resolved before he could turn to him for help, and it was impossible for ordinary things to trouble him. So Terumi Mei put what happened recently, soil. Terumi Mei ran over at once, like a child. Bola said, "Tell me, what is the most important and urgent matter to come to me this time?" Chapter 295 Heavenly Wizards. Chapter 295 Heavenly Wizards. I told him one by one, and even the well-informed Bola was shocked when he talked about the profound meaning of the Battle of Gods and all the attributes of the Grand Master, Chakra. Because he has been walking around the world for so many years, he has only seen 3rd Hokage Yuan Fei from Konoha's village. Yuan Fei has passed away, 840, for many years, and it has been more than 20 years. Could it be Yuan Fei's reincarnation? This is too absurd. In the huge ninja world, from ancient times to the present, only a genius like Yuan Fei has such ability. Now that there is another one, Bo Luo is also very surprised, and he can't help but be curious. So Bola said, "According to what you said, it is really a genius, and I am also a little curious and want to meet." Terumi Mei said, "He won't leave, and in 2 days, Shenzan will meet our 3 top masters, one of which is Mr. Bola." Bo Luo is absolutely obliged to let Terumi Mei's arrangement be allowed, and he also agrees very much. He just hopes to watch this battle video called Battle of Gods. Such treasures, Terumi Mei, of course, recorded them all through the water screen. So the two looked at it together, and the more Bo Luo looked, the more amazed he felt, while Terumi Mei felt that Shenzan was a bottomless person by revisiting it. In particular, Bola was shocked when he saw that the Battle of the Gods had figured out all the top-level meanings of water style. So Bola said, "It's the first time in Bo Luo's life that I have seen such an amazing person, but I have the confidence to fight him." Advertisement as he spoke, a confident figure flashed in his eyes. Terumi Mei asked, "Master, do you see his shortcomings?" Bo Luo responded, "Although he has the top-level profound meaning of each element of Grandmaster, he has only reached the top level. He may know about things outside the top level, but he may not have it, so he still have the power to fight." Terumi Mei understands what Bola means, that is, the boundary of blood sacrifice. This kind of thing is the standard of genius, and it is a natural difference that cannot be made up no matter how hard and how strong the comprehension is. Terumi Mei gave the saved video to Mr. Bola through the mirror of water style, and said to him, "Teacher, talents like Shenzan are either recruited or destroyed. This video is for you, you can watch it when you have time. One look." Bola understood what he meant and agreed with Terumi Mei's political wisdom, so he took over and disappeared out of thin air. No one knows where Bola is going, but Terumi Mei believes that her teacher will appear at the test 2 days later. At this time, Uchiha Qiye gradually became more cheerful after completing the summoning circle of destroying Mihong. What was waiting for him was the competition 2 days later, and he was very confident that his pretending points would continue to increase exponentially. After admiring the beauty of the country of water, he immediately returned to the bedroom. One time after 2.9 came, it was the 3 servants who were busy before and after, as if nothing had changed. Now that the sun has set, Uchiha Qiye will have a more exciting intense battle in 2 days, and he is looking forward to this day. 1 day, 2 days, time was like flowing water, and when the decisive battle in the reservoir finally arrived, before that, the news that the Battle of the Gods would single-handedly take on the entire country of water spread like wildfire. Chapter 296 Killing Cheng Yaojin Halfway. Chapter 296 Killing Cheng Yaojin Halfway. This day is destined to be an extraordinary day, because the name of Uchiha Kai's vest, the Battle of Gods, has been completely spread in the Land of Water, so the people of the Land of Water seem to see their idols for Battle of Gods, same. The Battle of the Gods is going to single out the 3 masters of the country of water, which is an extremely exciting thing for everyone in the country of water. Because Shenzan is only in his early 20s, he not only won the championship with a crushing advantage in the youth competition, but also singled out Jonin and a ninja more powerful than Jonin. Some people say that the Battle of Gods is inflated, but it is just a victory over a group of little brats, and they are arrogant enough to fight with the 14-nation artifact of the Land of Water. Some people think that this is a conspiracy, because the original champion of this competition was originally from the country of water. He won the extremely precious Snow Lotus, and also made a splash. So this is the country of water wanting to get back on the scene, get back face, give Shenzan some hardship, and teach him to be a good person in the future. But there are still a large number of people who think that the country of water will not be so petty. This competition has been held for 50 years. People from any country have always won the Snow Lotus, and the Battle of Gods does not even have a national background. How is it possible will the country of water take revenge? No matter what kind of guesses, it will only lead to one result, that is, people in the country of water basically know that the Battle of Gods is going to single out the most powerful ninjas in the country of water. Therefore, this competition not only brought out the residents of the entire water country, but also wanted to see how powerful the Battle of the Gods was, and even attracted some people from other countries who came to watch it. After all, the country of water has been prosperous for so many years, and many monster-level S-rank ninjas have no chance at all, so they also want to see how powerful the country of water is. This is also an act of testing the truth. So this time, not only is it more exciting than the annual competition, but nearly 100,000 people are watching the game at the same time. What is the concept of 100,000 people? That is, the competition venue on the spot can only accommodate 30,000 people, and even standing on the wall can accommodate up to 40,000 people. The remaining 60,000 people can only be conveyed to thousands of households through the water screen of the land of water, because it is already full of people, and it is impossible to enter the competition. Fortunately, the water screen can play a role in conduction, otherwise so many people would not be able to feast their eyes at all. At this time, it was noon, and it was the time when the body's metabolism was the most vigorous, and 840 said it was the most suitable time for fighting. Today, the country of water is still foggy, but fortunately there's no rain at all, so the onlookers will not be drenched by the rain at all. Uchiha Qiye came to the arena early, and he didn't know which two other people were other than the 7 ninja swordsmen who never slashed Touty, because the Kingdom of Water did not disclose it, it was also permissible. As soon as Uchiha Qiye stepped into the ring, he heard the sound of a tsunami, made many contributions. Advertisement Chapter 297 Is it okay for 7 people to fight one person? Chapter 297 Is it okay for 7 people to fight one person? So from an emotional point of view, although people like and worship God War more, they don't dare to shout it out loud. But there are always spectators who are not the country of water at all. Since the game is completely open, many people from other countries shouted together. God is invincible. God will win the battle. God battle defeated the 7 ninja swordsmen. I beg you. The reputation of the 7 ninja swordsmen has long spread throughout the entire ninja world, and the things they do are simply without any moral standards. Pull. But because Touty Zaibi Yushion was originally an Anbu from the land of water, a character who was potentially under the table, all they did was wet work stained with blood, that is, they had to get their hands dirty. Since they chose this department, they don't care about the ridicule and contempt of the outside world. Anyway, all their starting points are to safeguard the interests of the country of water. If they can't do it by normal means, they will not hesitate to use abnormal means. In fact, this is the default rule of the entire ninja world. Advertisement Standing on the ring, Shenzan found that the crowd of onlookers had expanded several times in size than before. He realized that this wave of pretense was harvested, and he might be able to learn the most elementary Ina Shiame. With such a forbidden technique blessing, when I meet Mi Hong again in the future, I will also give myself a little more confidence. And he found that the field expanded several times, and the entire area was over 1,000 square kilometers, which was completely enough for 2 S-rank ninjas to unleash any big moves. After the Battle of Gods came up, I was very satisfied when I met the sound of a mountain in a tsunami. Today's Shenzan is dressed in white clothes and looks picturesque, like a graceful and beautiful young man, and such a young man can be said to be invincible in the country of water. Of course, if he could defeat the top 3 people today, he would be invincible in the land of water. After all, he was famous in the entire ninja world and became a mythical figure. At this time, Touty didn't cut it anymore, because the 7 people of the ninja swords were whole, and the default was not only that Touty would not cut one person to fight, but 7 people to fight each other. Not only God Zon thinks this is fair, even all the onlookers don't think this is the land of water bullying people. Because everyone understands that only 7 people can form a formation, this is their tradition, picking one out alone is nothing, but the combination of 7 people can deal with most difficult characters. The reason why the 7 ninja swordsmen feel intimidated in the ninja world is because the 7 of them have killed countless first-class Jonin masters, and they have slaughtered more than 10 A-class ninjas at one time, including one of the S-class ninjas. Such a combination and lineup can be said to be weak, but today's 7 ninja swordsmen are actually facing a young boy who is just in his early days. It seems that the Kingdom of Water has really made a lot of money. Just after Touty Zabuzu came up, the base of the masses below was also extremely broad, and they all shouted, because this is still the object of their worship all the time. It seems that the supporters behind it are on the same level. Chapter 298 The anger in my heart erupted. Chapter 298 The anger in my heart erupted. Terumi Mei, who has been sitting on the summit platform to watch the game, is a little nervous, but she wants to see how capable the Battle of the Gods can be, and whether she can still maintain her composure in the face of this lore weapon, that invincible level. Next came a referee, still a figure with gray hair and a deep refereeing experience. After he came up, he raised his hand to all the audience and gestured. The referee said, in the competition between high-end ninjas, all personnel in the arena are requested to be silent, and do not disturb their 840 state of mind. If there is any violation, they will be pulled out directly. As soon as these words came out, everyone stopped screaming, and they were quiet like chickens, and they all understood, because the state of mind of a ninja in this realm is an extremely important part, and it is true that they cannot be disturbed. After the referee finished speaking, he looked around and saw that the effect was very good, and then he restrained his serious expression. So he turned around and glanced at Touty Zai Fu and Divine War, and announced, the competition is no matter life or death, go all out, neither the land of water nor the god of war can pursue it, do you understand? BECJ. It turned out that the battle between these two people is not about life or death at all. The onlookers have only just learned about this, but they did not dare to make trouble at all, because the referee told them to be quiet. They could only whisper silently and exchange shocked eyes. This is a real life and death battle, and it must seem tense and exciting. Advertisement Touty Zaibu Zan and Shenzan nodded silently. The former stared at Shenzan. He wanted to kill Shinigami Zan. It was not a matter of a day or two. Let it out. In this case, there must be nothing to talk about. Shenzan glanced at the peach ground and would not cut it again. In his hand, he pulled a blade of the Thunder Spirit out of his waist, and the sword body was surrounded by ancient incantations, exuding a cold light. And Shen Zan was still as arrogant as always, his eyes didn't even look away, and he didn't think that this man was worthy of being his opponent at all. After the referee announced the rules, he directly shouted, "Both sides start the game." Whether it's the disgrace in front of Terumi Mei, the anger he feels, or the arrogance of God's arrogance and arrogance that doesn't put anyone in the eye, he wants to repair God's battle well. Taudi Zabuzon had already adapted to Shen Zan's habit of pretending to be coercive, and his heart was no longer warm, so he said, "Oh, Shen Zan, today is the day when you will settle your sins, come out and mix, always if you want to pay it back, be prepared to take your life." As soon as these words came out, the two people standing in the arena began to draw their swords. Shen Zan finally glanced coldly at Taudi with his eyes full of light. In this scene of 100,000 people watching, if you don't pretend, it's just a waste of money. This arrogant and disdainful look made Taudi Zabuzon feel very angry. He said, "If you don't cut the peach land again, you and your ninja swordsmen are just a group of children, and they are not worthy of fighting with me. If you quit now, I can spare your life." 35. Calling the dignified ninja group of 7 as a pediatrician, no one dares to say it throughout the entire ninja world. Even if this group of 7 is fighting against the shadow ninja, it may exist on a par with each other, in the mouth of the god war to actually pretend to be so arrogant. Chapter 299 Worthy of being the mainstay of the country of water. Chapter 299 Worthy of being the mainstay of the country of water. Shen Zan said, "Then let the horse come over." The posture displayed by Shen Zan is like a pure ninja, bowing forward and making a posture of arguing with a samurai sword. Ninjutsu has been ignored, and it seems that he is using exquisite physical skills to compete with the opponent's sitting skills. And if Taudi did not cut out the world-famous Kisame sword, the sword naturally had a spirit, and this spirit was Kisame. Kisame has been drooling since the last time I smelled the chakra on Shen Zan, but I couldn't eat it, so I miss it more and more. This time, I finally encountered Shen Zan again, and I was so excited that I came out of the cage and wanted to swallow Shen Zan immediately. Taudi Zabuji naturally dispatched a group of 7 of his own ninja swords. The reason why he could only see him was of course that the other 6 people were all hidden, ready to give a fatal blow to the battle of gods. But in Uchiha Kai's eyes, he had already figured out the positions of these people. They were grandmasters, chakras, and how strong they were. Uchiha Qiye had calculated them clearly. The first to attack is Moody Zabuji, because the Kisame sword in his hand can no longer endure the coveted battle of the gods, chakra. He rushed over all of a sudden, although Taoji Zabujan is not a lightning-style ninja, but this extremely fast speed still makes Shen Zan admirable. If it is not because he has the eternal eye, it is really possible that he cannot see clearly. Such a fast peach land, don't cut it again. In the eyes of Uchiha Qiye, he felt that his speed was very fast, so it is conceivable that in the eyes of the other onlookers, only an afterimage could be seen. Although it did not completely disappear, it was amazing enough. The purple chakra aura lingers around the Kisame great sword of Dao Di Zaifu, and its power has been expanded 10 times compared to the first time I saw Dao Di Zafu Xian, and coupled with its extremely fast speed, even if it is a battle of gods, it will not be careless. Advertisement immediately took out the blade of the Thunder Spirit in his hand, and immediately collided with Kisami's great sword, which was never going to slash. All of a sudden, sparks splashed everywhere, and the sound of the metal delivery was full of the meaning of a samurai discussing swords. For flowers. Bang bang bang, and several fights, neither side seemed to be able to gain advantage. This is the first time I've seen someone who can face off against God for a few rounds. But in fact, Uchiha Qiye only tried to test Taudi before slashing, because their ultimate move must be at the back. Although they didn't understand it at first, but seeing that the Battle of Gods, which has always used the method of instant kill to crush all living beings, actually has to compete with Taudi Zabujan quickly, it proves that the latter really has considerable strength. Zero the Kisame Great Sword was originally intended as a weapon, but at this time Kisame roared in despair and discomfort. The voice was extremely strange, even Momochi had never heard such a strange voice, but he could hear it, it was Kisami's angry and uncomfortable voice. As expected of the mainstay of the Land of Water, there are indeed 2 brushes. Although the people below were not allowed to make loud noises, they all whispered to each other, no matter how powerful Taudi is, he has the ability to compete with Lord Shenzhen. Chapter 300 Eat me a thunderstorm talisman and kill you. Chapter 300 Eat me a thunderstorm talisman and kill you. But suddenly, Shen Zan flipped a few steps back and said, "Your Kisame is dead. Throw away the big sword, or change a weapon, don't say I take advantage of you." As soon as these words came out, everyone was sighing, how could Kisame die? Because in the continuous attack, when the Kisame sword collided with Uchiha Kai's weapon, according to the usual 840 theory, it would continue to absorb the opponent's chakra, but because Uchiha Qiye has some water style all over his body with the protection of the barrier, Kisame couldn't even take a bite. So the uncomfortable Kisame was even more angry, and kept eating the blade of the Thunder Spirit itself. But why does God War say Kisame is dead? Taudi Zabuzon was a little surprised. He raised his sword and suddenly saw that Kisami's mouth was bleeding non-stop, and Kisame himself was dying. Why? How is this possible? Taudi Zabuzon looked at all this with great surprise, because it was completely beyond his understanding, because Kisame itself belongs to a kind of resentful spirit, feeding on chakra, and it is impossible for humans to kill resentful spirits with grace. And he just collided with the blade of the Thunder Spirit with the Kisame Greatsword. How did his Kisame die? Advertisement Uchiha Qiye glanced at his blade of the Thunder Spirit, kept shaking his head and said, "Look at your Kisame. Even my blade of the Thunder Spirit is not like this, how could he not die?" Taudi turned his head and glanced at it again. The blade of the thunder spirit of Shenzan was already full of pits and pits, and there were many marks of being bitten by teeth, and it was already covered with bite-damaged holes. It was obviously bitten by Kisame in his own Kisame great sword. Kisame wanted Chakra, who was fighting with God. He couldn't wait, so he kept biting the blade of the thunder spirit, trying to break through the barrier of water, so as to absorb the gods smoothly. Battle of Chakra. But for some reason, Kisame was dying. Taudi Zabuzai, even a very cold-blooded person, can't accept such a thing at all, because Kisame has been with him for half his life, and he has been with Kisame since he became a ninja. Although it is a weapon, it is more intimate comrade in arms. Momochi Zabuchao's eyes instantly turned scarlet and asked, "What did you do to my Kisame?" Shenzan shrugged his shoulders and said, "My blade of the thunder spirit is densely packed with Thor's spells. After you bite down on your Kisame and swallow it, these spells will naturally emit power in its belly. The power of spells, it can destroy the world, let alone destroy a small, greedy spirit." While talking, Shenzan raised his devastated blade of the thunder spirit, so that Momochi Zabuzai and the audience all understood what was going on at once. But with God Zan's forceful tossing, the entire blade of the thunder spirit was rejuvenated with a humming sound, and those swords that were bitten by Kisame were restored to their original shape in an instant, looking sharper and fuller. Blade of the Thunder Spirit 2.9 is Blade of the Thunder Spirit. As an artifact left over from ancient times, although it is not as top-notch as the Sword of Slaughter, it is at least an artifact. Of course, it is not uncommon to be able to automatically restore to the original. Taudi's anger is no longer suffocated, and he glanced at Kisame, who was completely dead. His favorite bond in his life had completely disappeared. Chapter 301 The Morning Star, the Head of the Seven Stars. Chapter 301 The Morning Star, the Head of the Seven Stars. Not only that, because of Kisame's death, Taudi Zabuji's combat power was greatly reduced. Because he is most accustomed to, and most commonly used, this weapon. Taudi Zabuzan's eyes turned scarlet. Although Kisame was dead, Kisame's great sword still had the ability to absorb the opponent's chakra. He regained his spirits, and this time it was a complete killing intent. He roared, "Go to hell." This sentence is definitely said from the heart, and it is also a hint that the 6 people around can take action. 14. The famous 7 ninja swordsmen finally cooperated to launch an attack, which was definitely a top-level ninja cooperation. Everyone's eyes widened, watching what was going to happen next. Taudi Zabujan approached Uchiha Qiye directly at a speed exceeding the speed of sound. The latter's eyes just blinked slightly, and suddenly saw Taudi Zabujan suddenly running towards him. Not only that, Uchiha Qiye clearly felt the murderous intentions of the 7 people, except for the front of Taudi Zabuji, his own up and down, left and right, and each death Kakuzu approached the murderous intention at the same time. Uchiha Qiye immediately performed ninjutsu, earth style, earth wall. With the sound of the earth shaking, the entire earth covering 100 miles suddenly wrapped towards Uchiha Qiye, completely covering his entire body in an instant. This is earth style's most powerful defense. The attack from 7 angles is also coming, and the attack of the 7 ninjas is also extremely sharp. Although Uchiha Qiye is completely wrapped by the earth wall, the thick earth style between the turns is in the attack of the 7 ninjas. It all fell apart in less than 3 seconds. Advertisement The God War inside realized that their attack was extremely sharp, but he was definitely not a vegetarian. Physique, Leaf Great Whirlwind. I saw that Uchiha Qiye turned his body extremely fast. His legs were both weapons and means of defense. A whirlwind hung around his body, and the whirlwind that turned at a high speed was almost visible to the naked eye, and all 7 ninjas were blown up in an instant. Bang, bang, the sound of several consecutive hits to the ground made all the 7 ninjas fall to the ground. But it didn't look like the injury was serious, and they got up as soon as they rolled over. The 7 ninjas performed their best techniques respectively, while Uchiha Qiye, who was included in the middle, was not in a hurry. The 7 ninja swordsmen realized that Uchiha Qiye was not easy to deal with, so they began to change the formation of 840. Fire style, Flying Fire Tree. The swords in their hands began to glow, and those radiances depended on each grandmaster's sorcery. Wood style, Wood Reaction Tim. The 7 ninjas unleashed their ninjutsu together and attacked Uchiha Qiye at the same time. And the Cosmic Wave Qiye certainly understood what it meant. The 7 of them were all stepping on the position of the Big Dipper. As the head of the 7 stars, Keeksing would naturally not cut the peach land. And because one of them is good at wood style, wood torture has been swirling around Uchiha Qiye, making him unable to move at all, like a live target. Finally, it was possible to quietly see their true colors, and the insiders also discovered that even if they were knocked out, it was very regular. These 7 people were still at the original angle, including Uchiha Qiye. Chapter 302 Demonstrate what is a super top ninja. Chapter 302 Demonstrate what is a super top ninja. Since then, Uchiha Qiye is unavoidable, either resisting this move hard, or disappearing into ashes. Up to now, most of the masters have been killed by this move, it just depends on whether Uchiha Qiye has the ability to dodge it. Under the blessing of the Eternal Eye, Uchiha Qiye felt that this move was both quick and hateful. Deadly attacks from 7 different directions all aimed at Uchiha Kai's life gate, only to see him suddenly cast at an even faster speed, water style, Ice Crystal. All the surrounding water mist turned into ice and directly covered Uchiha Qiye in it, and prepared defenses before the 7 of them attacked. Bang! With a bang, the hard ice crystal technique suddenly resisted the combined attack of the 7 ninja swordsmen. But it only resisted it for a while, because even such a high-density ice crystal was instantly violent by the 7 of them. You can know how strong the power of this blow is. Yamato was amazing. In fact, the 7 of them were very shocked. As we all know, all ninjas use their hands to form a seal when they release ninjutsu, and even a superb ninja must at least complete the seal at 0.5 seconds, and it is only a simple technique. Advertisement: if it is an advanced technique, it will take at least 1 second, but in a high-paced, high-intensity ninja fighting with their lives, every second can determine success or failure, life and death. The attack of the 7 of them was launched in an instant, and there was no time left for the enemy to seal, not even 0.5 seconds. But Uchiha Qiye actually released the A-level ninjutsu ice crystal technique in such a short period of time after the seal was completed. It was just in this moment that you could see how powerful the cosmic wave Qiye was. The layman is watching the excitement, and the expert is watching the doorway. Of course, only people above Chunin can understand when this moment occurs, and understand how strong the battle of gods really is. Especially Terumi Mei, who was sitting on the summit platform, was a little surprised when she saw this scene. Ice crystal art is a general ninjutsu, and all water ninjutsu can do it. This is an A-level ninjutsu, even her kind. The super strong water style ninja with the blood sacrifice boundary takes 1 second to release. But the speed of Uchiha Kai's printing is almost invisible to the naked eye, and it is released without printing at all. Terumi Mei is simply amazed by this. Hidden in the shadows all the time, as a secret weapon that did not appear, Terumi Mei's master Boluo's eyes narrowed into a slit at this time, and he was not as fast as this guy called God War at all. He was really amazing, strong enough to pervert. He is also carefully weighing the strength of the battle of gods in his heart. From the battle to the present, for money, he has not been able to see what the weakness of the battle of God is. In the absence of a one-hit kill, the 7 ninja swordsmen actually felt a little bit of surprise in their hearts, because the reaction speed of the battle of gods could be described as terrifying. However, so far, Shenzan has been playing defensive battles, and has never fought back. Shenzan can see that they have some surprised expressions. Although it is fleeting, they can definitely seize the opportunity in this gap. Chapter 303: The tricks that are released frequently are dazzling. Chapter 303: The tricks that are released frequently are dazzling. So the battle of gods turned from defense to offense, and displayed the S-level wood-style spell, wood-style, multiple wood clone technique. This method is even more amazing than Naruto's shadow clone, because Naruto's shadow clone technique, each of his shadows only has a little chakra ability. However, Uchiha Kai's wood style has multiple wood clone, which has all the chakras of the main body. It can be called pervert-level ninjutsu, but it can only copy the information of the enemy. If it is one-on-one, this trick is useless at all. When this skill was released, all 840s could not have imagined that the S-class wood style could not be released so easily. Clone out of the 7 gods to fight against each of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and the situation suddenly became one-sided. It was already hard enough to fight only 1 god battle, let alone 7. Seeing such a situation, the 7 ninja swordsmen immediately fought with the wood style of God War, but the sound of ping-ping-pong-pong weapons fighting was endless. However, the 7 ninja swordsmen are a well-trained assassination organization after all, and they are not good at such physical hand-to-hand combat at all, so they exchanged glances with each other very tacitly, and used their unique skills again. These 7 people gathered together at once, and Shenzan immediately realized that they must have some plan. Taudi does not cut his hands and emits a thick mist. This is one of the tricks in water style. The remaining few people also quickly form seals. In an instant, these 7 people are all hidden in the thick mist, and no one can see it at all. See. Advertisement: but Uchiha Qiye is different. He has the Eye of Reincarnation, and this level of invisibility is ineffective for him. But a second later, the cosmic wave Qiye found that something was wrong. Taudi Zebujan finally released the ninjutsu that belongs to the 7 people of their ninja swords, secret skill, serial killing of ninjas. I saw that in the thick fog, they were not, just invisible, but moved at a speed close to the speed of light in the formation they compiled through extremely high movement speed. And Uchiha Kai's avatar is just an avatar after all, and it is not their opponent in terms of movement speed, so in the atmosphere that looks extremely quiet, but in fact hides the murderous intention, suddenly the 7 ninja swordsmen came out in the thick fog. All of Uchiha Kai's wood-style clones were slashed all at once, and the shadows of the 7 ninja swordsmen appeared layer by layer. In fact, it was just a visual effect of gradually decreasing speed. Bang bang. The sound of the continuous explosion of wooden stakes came one after another, and it only took a few seconds. In a silent atmosphere, all the wood-style clones of Cosmic Wave went to burst instantly. The effect is simply wonderful. No one would have imagined that the strength of the 7 ninja swordsmen would be so powerful, completely surpassing those of the contestants, and some felt that they could be on par with the Battle of Gods. In the end, only the main body of the Battle of Gods remained, and was almost injured, avoiding the fatal blow that was full of fog and murderous intent. The Battle of Gods began to take a serious look at the 7 of them, each of them exuding a strong murderous aura, and according to rumors, the 7 ninja swordsmen killed a strong enemy in almost one move, and they never missed a shot, passed. And so far, the Battle of Gods they want to kill. Chapter 304: The 7 People Going All Out. Chapter 304: The 7 People Going All Out. He has firmly taken over their 2 ultimate moves. Time is passing little by little, but this top-level confrontation made tens of thousands of spectators completely suppress their breathing, and they all opened their eyes to appreciate this wonderful and evenly matched game. Taudi Zebujan glanced at Zan and said, let's decide the outcome. Hearing this, Uchiha Qiye understood that if they were to launch the last round of attack, it would be their life's desperation, and it seemed that the victory or defeat between them could be decided at once. I saw the 7 ninja swordsmen relax their bodies one after another, inserting the swords in their hands into the hilt, as if they were about to rest, but this was just the calm that came before the storm. Ninja sword fit. 9 Taudi Zabuzon said such a secret skill. Shenzan watched in amazement as they threw all their ninja swords into the sky at once, and then Moody Zabuzon's Kisame sword in his hand completely absorbed Renren. The energy in the knife will be completely integrated into one. The Kisame sword, which never cut the peachland, suddenly became extremely sharp, rippling with extremely strong explosive power and deterrent power. And those 6 people were completely hidden in a thick fog, so they couldn't even see it. Shenzan carefully observed that Taudi did not slash. His own strength was already very strong, but after such a period of strengthening, the strength of the whole person improved by leaps and bounds. Momoji Zabujan said a ninjutsu that made Shenzan unbelievable. Advertisement, blind eyes. Open. After obtaining all the ninjutsu and energy of the other 6, Taudi Zabujan opened his eyes miraculously. If the cosmic wave Qiye remembers correctly, the white eye is the limit of blood sacrifice, and this is not something that can be done through hard work. That can only explain one thing. Among the other members of the ninja swordsmen, some members of the Hyuga family, because Momoji Zabujan gained the power of these people, it is possible to open their eyes. But the matter of pretending is absolutely impossible to stop. I don't think I can't cut the peachland, so I pulled the other 6 people to fight against me, which is really despise. The Hyuga family can be the mainstay of the Konoha village. Although it is not as powerful as the Uchiha family, the White Eye is one of the god-tier Otsutsuki Kagaya who created the ninja world. Shenzan has adjusted his chakra to the best state. Since Taudi is no longer so serious, he has to go all out. Although I don't know why the Hyuga family came out with an inexplicable person to join the country of water, but probably this is the end of the betrayal. No one knows his name, and no one can see him again, so he joined the country of water. Anbu, living a dark life. After opening his eyes, he was able to clearly see each other's every move and chakras flow. It was only now that Shenzan took a high look at Taudi and didn't cut it. Asterisk asterisk. .0 Taudi Zabujan sneered with a pair of white eyes. I am the 7 ninja blades, and the 7 ninja blades are me. When he said this, the sounds he made had some overlapping timbres, as if the other 6 people were saying the same thing at the same time. Advertisement Chapter 305 The Resurrected Kisame finally succeeded. Chapter 305 The Resurrected Kisame finally succeeded. Ninjutsu, Flying Thunder God. 1 move, Flying Thunder God. The sky is covered with dark clouds, and the Thunder God rumbles in the sky. His majestic appearance seems to be omnipotent. This is a real god, and the Thunder God has been completely conquered by Uchiha Qiye. Body on Uchiha Kai's body. At this time, he was wearing Thor's armor, holding a Thunder 840 sword in his hand, and the Thor was alive. By this time, the crowd had ignored the referee's words, because it was so exciting and shocking. God, the duel has reached this level and level, I can see it once and die without regrets. 5. I was so shocked that I forgot to speak. The 7 ninja swordsmen from the land of water are really strong, but the battle of gods is really too strong. Yeah, he is only in his early 20s, and he has the strength of our most advanced ninja. He has a bright future in the future, of course, if he does not die. Shenzan held the blade of the Thunder Spirit in his hand, and his majestic appearance made people feel extremely strong and majestic at first glance. This time he chose to take the initiative to attack. Shenzan held the sword in his hand. Because of Lightning Style's blessing, his speed was faster than ever, and he rushed over with a humming sound, leaving only a gust of wind quietly spreading in place. In an instant, an extremely powerful aura appeared in front of Taudi Zabuzon, and Taudi Zabuzon, who opened his eyes, could clearly capture the figure of the battle of the gods, the fierce chakra flowing to see the god. There was some fear in the heart of the war. Too powerful, too shocking. Advertisement He held the Kisame sword in his hand, and with all his strength he collided with the blade of the Thunder Spirit. Boom! The ground shook, and at the moment when the 2 great swords collided with each other, countless chakra fluctuations rippling and exploded rapidly in the air, making the picture less real. This time, in terms of power comparison, the 2 were evenly matched, and it was simply a close confrontation. This time, Shenzan was a little wrong, because no one thought that Kisame, who had died, would miraculously resurrect after the 7 people of ninja sword merged. Immediately afterwards, Kisami's great sword kept slashing Shenzan, and Shenzan had to fight with the blade of the Thunder Spirit, otherwise it would cut directly to his body. Dao Di Zai Buzan smiled wildly. Eat, let you eat enough at a time. After the blade of the Thunder Spirit in the hands of God Zan was swallowed by Kisame for a few times, it became dull in an instant. Obviously, the chakra on the blade of the Thunder Spirit has been consumed by Kisame. The Kisame in the Kisame sword has been resurrected, because the lightning style and the water style are mutually exclusive, so the cosmic wave Qiye can't use the water style enchantment to hold his own sword. Bitten the blade of the Thunder Spirit. Suddenly, a strong air of chakra was swallowed by Kisame. Immediately after that, there were swordsmanship competitions again and again. The speed was getting faster and the power was getting stronger and stronger. Taudi is even more crazy if he doesn't cut it again. Ha ha ha, let's die. 5 or 6 collisions in a row. The greedy Kisame took one bite after another, and the ruthless devourer chakra on the blade of the Thunder Spirit has been coveted for a long time for the chakra itself. This time I finally eat it. Kisame looks like Xing 2.9 is very excited. Chapter 306 Decisive Battle. The line between life and death. Chapter 306 Decisive Battle. The Line Between Life and Death. He raised the Kisame sword and scorned the battle of the gods, thinking that this one blow with all his might would surely wipe out the battle of gods. Bloodthirsty. Tauti Zebuji unleashed his own housekeeping stunt. Kisame's great sword erupted in blood red, and its power increased tenfold. He was going to use this move to completely end the battle with God. Shen Zan sneered, "I'm just practicing with you." The blade of the thunder spirit in the hands of God Zan suddenly burst into a dazzling brilliance again. 14. The arrow of Indra. This is lightning style's strongest S-rank ninjutsu. The thunder god in the sky was originally called Indra. He only heard the thunder and lightning roar in the sky, and countless thunder columns rushed into the blade of the thunder spirit, which is a symbol of authority. The thunder and lightning in the sky filled the blade of the thunder spirit, which was called the arrow of Indra. For the first time, the spells on the blade of the thunder spirit were all shining brightly because of ninjutsu, as if they were activated. The intense brilliance made the surrounding people unable to see clearly, but the battle of the gods at this time was completely the feeling of Thor himself. The ultimate confrontation between Bloodthirst and the arrow of Indra begins the final duel. Boom! The whole picture was torn and distorted in space. The bloodthirsty Kisame was extremely rampant and used his life's strength. The sharp fangs and the blood-red chakra were intertwined with each other, as if the Shura in hell broke out the darkest, evil energy. And the arrow of Indra used by the opponent's war of gods is the power of thunder and lightning in the sky. The thunder of the god of lightning makes a bang, and the whole body of the war of gods also erupts with a very strong lightning style, which makes the surrounding trees and flowers all at once evaporated into a pitch-black piece. Advertisement. Two extremely strong forces collided together, light and darkness collided with each other, blooming a very strong confrontation. This roar caused the audience sitting very far to have bursts of tinnitus, and the explosive force swept thousands of miles. It was impossible to see what was going on inside. After the explosion sounded for 10 seconds, the picture gradually stabilized. I saw a 10-meter deep pit exploded where the two were just now, and all the trees on the hillside were moved to the ground. And the battle of gods is still standing, but the blade of the thunder spirit in his hand has completely disappeared the runes. The energy is exhausted, and even the blade of the thunder spirit itself is bent. Looking at Tauti again, he was already lying on the ground, spitting out blood, and there was no good flesh on his body. His limbs have been separated from his body, and his clothes have been completely scorched. The Kisame great sword that never slashed the Peachland was completely shattered, and besides the Peachland that never slashed, there was a man lying next to Luhei who was completely dead, who were the teammates of the 7 ninja swordsmen. The current Tauti is no longer slashed, but it is just lingering on 840, and it is impossible to say a word. In this battle, the battle of gods was won. And Shen Zan just lost a blade of the thunder spirit, and he turned out to be unscathed. In this competition of power, Shen Zan used his strength to prove that he was actually higher than Tauti. Several grades. Shen Zan glanced at Tauti and said, "I approve of your strength, but hurry up and treat yourself now, you should be able to save your life." Tauti Zebuji is the Jonin of the Land of Water, a hero who has made great contributions to the Land of Water. In fact, the people of the Land of Water do not want him to die. However, the battle of gods did not kill. Chapter 307. Chapter 307. If he had just used a little more force, this guy would have been wiped out a long time ago, and the battle of gods just kept a hand and a love. Of course, Terumi Mei is especially nervous. From personal feelings, she doesn't want Tauti to die here. So she couldn't sit still any longer, and immediately stood up and said, "Hurry up and send medical ninjas for treatment." With an order, the 3 top medical ninjas of the water country flew over in an instant, and one of them seemed to have obtained the medical system of immortality. A female medical ninja summons the summoning Toad Sage. A big toad suddenly descended from the sky, directly swallowing the uncut body and limbs of Tauti into his belly. This method can preserve his body perfectly and immediately treat it in the toad's belly. Several other ninjas also entered the stomach of the big toad, and then flew to the rear of the field, treating them without delay for a second. This kind of high-level treatment can basically only be obtained by a ninja of this level if Tauti does not slash again. Because the medical ninjas in the ninja world especially know that the big toad of summoning Shienjutsu can be saved as long as the opponent still has a breath, and Shienjutsu treatment is the top of the top. Advertisement: the battle of gods did not destroy the internal organs of Tauti, but it just moved the limbs, and it must be able to be rescued. A very exciting battle is finally over. The referee stepped forward and pulled up the arm of the battle of gods to announce the result of the game. This station, God wins. Only then did the people sober up from the intoxicating process of the game, and they all shouted the name of the battle of the gods like crazy. The battle of gods is not only extremely powerful, but also knows how to show mercy, because everyone understands that this is a life and death battle. If Tauti's uncut head was cut off during the battle of gods, the country of water would not be able to stop it, because the contract of life and death had already been signed. But Shen Zan did not, but urged the medical ninja to treat him quickly. This bearing, this mind, who can compare? Add 9,999 points of pretending. Add 8,888 points of pretending. Advertisement. Added 7,777 to pretend points. 5. The wave after wave of pretense points are skyrocketing. Uchiha Qiye is very satisfied, because he knows that doing arbitrary things in public will make his pretense point explode, and the more people love him, the more power points are added. But Uchiha Qiye had to admit that the victory over Tauti Zebuju did cost some of his chakra, so he walked out under the referee's signal. When I came to the lounge, I thought that the S-class medical ninja came over and looked like a middle-aged female ninja. Uchiha Qiye thought it was funny. How come the women in the land of water are all the same body? What they want, they look plump but not bloated, but have a very healthy beauty. She asked, my name is Ella. I am a medical ninja in the land of water. Do I need treatment and supplementation of chakra? Is it money? Uchiha Qiye glanced at it and said, need. This made Ella feel a little surprised, because this extremely strong pervert guy never needed it. It seems that defeating the 7 ninja swordsmen is a hard bone. Ella is still very happy and excited to be able to get close contact with her idol in her heart, and she can only have this opportunity. So Ella sat behind Uchiha Qiye, with green medical chakra energy in her hands constantly replenishing him. Chapter 308. Chapter 308. Ella is imbuing Uchiha Qiye with pure chakra, which has no attributes, out of the highest respect for the healed. Because most ninjas have only one type of chakra, and even 2 are extremely rare. Even if there are 2, only 1 common chakra attribute needs to be added. But everyone here sees that this guy called God War can use all the attributes of chakra freely, so he only needs to distribute the pure chakra himself, and there is no need for medical ninjas to add to them. A steady stream of soothing and pure chakra is healing Uchiha Kai's body, accompanied by a body massage. After all the work was done, Ella ended her treatment with sweat. Uchiha Qiye looked back at her, smiled faintly and said, thank you. Ella suddenly felt flattered that such a heroic figure whom the whole nation admired even smiled at her and thanked her, which really made her feel very different. Immediately, she felt a little nervous. BECJ. A slight blush appeared on her face, and she said embarrassedly, no thanks, this is my accusation. After speaking, she withdrew, because Ella felt that among all the ninjas she treated, only Uchiha Kai's chakra was the most terrifying, and it was so thick that it was immeasurable. There is no such amazing feeling. Sure enough, the god of war is really the god of war, it is simply outrageously strong. Just when Ella walked to the backstage, she sat in her seat to rest, a glass of warm water moistened her throat, and she picked up the handkerchief in her hand to wipe the sweat for herself. Advertisement with a creak, someone opened a revolving door from the secret passage in the backstage, and a noblewoman came out from the door. Because only members of the royal family know where this secret passage is, Ella naturally felt a little surprised and immediately stood up to see who it was. Sure enough, what caught my eye was the ninja Terumi Mei of the land of water, and a man standing behind her who looked very familiar but had an unfamiliar feeling. As soon as Ella saw Terumi Mei bowed slightly, just as she was about to speak, she saw Terumi Mei's booing gesture, signaling Lena not to speak. Although the distance between the backstage and Shenzhen is a kilometer away, and there are many private rooms in the middle, Terumi Mei still doesn't want to scare the snake. The supernatural skills displayed by Shenzhen make Terumi Mei feel amazing. Terumi Mei said, sit down and let's talk. Ella herself is a woman who is accustomed to being cramped. Because of some family accidents when she was a child, she felt a little inferior, so she sat down a little nervously and looked at Terumi Mei. Terumi Mei is on an equal footing with herself, except when she is working, in other circumstances. She glanced at the man beside Terumi Mei again, and after several identifications, she finally realized who this man was. Just about to blurt out, isn't this the land of water that has been missing for many years, or is it the Emperor Boluo who has been wandering abroad for many years? Now he has appeared again. Ella blurted out, Master Bo. Boro remained standing, smiling without saying a word. Advertisement Chapter 309 Exploring the Secret. How Uchiha Qiye Works in the Body. Chapter 309 Exploring the Secret. How Uchiha Qiye Works in the Body. He knew that if he appeared in the public, he would definitely cause a sensation, but he didn't want to expose himself so quickly, even if his next match was going to be against the heaven-defying god of war. Being able to treat the gods is an important part of uncovering the secrets of his body. All Jonin will naturally understand a person's extraordinary meridians and body structure through chakra's transmission when treating others. So Terumi Mei didn't expect the battle of the gods to agree, but she really gave Jonin's treatment of the land of water to have full confidence to fully understand the battle of gods. So Terumi Mei said, you taught chakra for him just now, so you should already know the body structure of God War, right? For a medical ninja, this is still very clear and understandable, of course, so he said, yes, I understand it in my mind, it's very special, and it can only be understood by drawing it. Terumi Mei said, very good, now you interpret his body structure, let me and Shibo Luo study it. 35. Ella is a traditional woman with the most simple medical beliefs, that is, the heart of a doctor's parents. All the patient's information should be completely protected as privacy. Others are not allowed to observe and understand without the patient's consent. Arrived. Especially in the ninja world, this point is very important. So Ella frowned a little. Although she knew that Terumi Mei was the ninja of the land of water, such a request was very contrary to the original intention of the medical ninja. Advertisement. So Ella resisted in a low voice, Kagyo, it may be difficult for me to agree. 35. Terumi Mei's beautiful face became a little surprised. She looked at Ella strangely and asked, why? The information on the battle of gods is very important, even crucial, for our country of water. Hearing Terumi Mei say this, Ella can only give her own reasons, because Jonin, the land of water, said when he taught medical ninjutsu that the privacy of patients must not be leaked, which is also what Boluo once taught, past ours. So Ellie nodded and said, okay, I'll draw it for you. This is something that only top medical ninjas can do. Asterisk. Bola smiled and said, of course you can't leak it out, but the people in the country of water belong to the insiders. How can there be any leakage? The national interest is above everything else. This is the code you must know as a ninja, and after that you're a medical ninja. In fact, as far as Ellie is concerned, she is also very curious about the distribution of such a specially constructed body and chakra. In the backstage, the green chakra in Avery's hand again began to restore the body structure of the Battle of the Gods bit by bit against the air. Step by step, it was extremely complex and very meticulous. After Bo Luo said this, Avery has no psychological burden. Since the Battle of Gods is so important, he must help Terumi Mei to solve this mystery. I saw that the chakra of the 5 attributes of the outline of the body structure of the Battle of the Gods is running in a very complex way in a crisscross manner, and they are yin and yang, and each other is yin and yang. Chapter 310 Bola discovers that this is the Sun and Moon Godhead. Chapter 310 Bola discovers that this is the Sun and Moon Godhead. It is simply amazing to see each other live and blend in with each other. You must know that there are only 2 types of chakras in general ninjas, and it is good not to harm each other, but the 5 types of chakras in the Battle of Gods are not only intertwined, but also help each other, and there is no second person in the world who can do this. Superb body structure. This is not the most important. 840. Next, they looked at the thickness of chakra in the Battle of the Gods. From head to toe, there was always a strong flow of chakra, and this was only visible to the naked eye. The internal organs of the battle, and even the bone marrow, have a deeper chakra as a reserve. Once the surface chakra is exhausted, the chakra stored in the body's organs will continue to be replenished. All these 5 elements of chakra are gathered in the dantian, forming a yin and yang map, which is slowly turning in the dantian, becoming a perpetual motion machine that adheres to the natural gas of heaven and earth. Such a structure made Terumi Mei and Bo Luo feel extremely terrified, because they could not find such a god-like body structure from anyone. At this time, he traveled around the world and saw countless strange people and strange things. Bo Luo, who knew the ancient and modern avenues, was extremely surprised, and said tremblingly, This is obviously a godhead. Godhead. This term was the first time Terumi Mei and Ellie heard it. Neither of them knew that a living person had the divine personality, and they had no concept of what a god was. Terumi Mei asked curiously, What is a godhead? BWGB, B. Bola shook his head, looked at the east with some dull eyes and said, I once traveled to the east and learned about the relationship between the god of creation and human beings, and painted his body structure in the private room of the god of creation, although there are some indistinguishable structures with the war of gods. As he spoke, he recalled, the circulation of the 5 elements and the formation of the yin and yang dantian are the basic structures of the godhead. We ordinary people, including all the people I have seen, don't have such a body, and we can't escape from the battle of gods. It is amazing to see a body that has figured out with godhead here. As he spoke, the more Terumi Mei and Ella felt that the battle of gods was truly incredible, but it hasn't stopped so far. Avery is still painting other structures about the Battle of Gods, and I saw that the channel of the organization chakra spreads all the way up, the structure of one eye on the left, and the structure of another eye on the right, and these 2 eyes are the same as ordinary human eyes. It is completely different, showing the circulation of upside down and retrograde, forming the image of one for the sun and one for the moon, as if the truth of the universe is completely hidden in it. Seeing this, Bo Luo was so frightened that he actually stepped back for a walk. It's just that Shenzan has the circulation of yin and yang and 5 elements, but he also has the divine personality of the sun and the moon. If he has the last thing, he will really become a god. 35. 2.9 Terumi Mei and Eli don't understand what it means. What exactly is the sun and moon godhead? Bola explained, the so-called sun and moon godheads, the sun is Rinnegan, and the moon is Bloodwheel Eyes, that is to say, Shenzhen has the basic structure of the eyes of 2 godheads. We don't know whether he has it now, but this foundation he can have 2 divine eyes at the same time. Chapter 311 The Smell of Fire and Smoke. The first glimpse of Bola and the Battle of the Gods. Chapter 311 The Smell of Fire and Smoke. The first glimpse of Bola and the Battle of the Gods. Having said that, Terumi Mei and Ellie also understood what he meant. Rinnegan has almost disappeared so far, only the legendary Nagato has it, but Nagato has disappeared for many years and has not been seen. The other Rinnegan is only owned by the Uchiha clan of Konoha, but no one has ever heard of Shenzhen from this clan. And God Zan actually has the foundation of 2 eyes, which is unheard of. In the end, Bo 14 Luo said, the current Battle of the Gods only lacks the position of the white eye, and the white eye is the finishing touch. If he has the white eye, then he will really become a god and become the master of the entire world. Having said that, it has completely surpassed the assumptions of Avery and Terumi Mei. Ordinary people have only 1 eye, and even if they do not evolve it, they will benefit from it all their lives. People who have 3 eyes at the same time call them gods. Absolutely not. Although Shenzan has the specification of 2 eyes, it can indeed be called a godhead, although it cannot be called a god. After Ari had drawn all the body structures of the god of war, Terumi Mei and Boro had a new understanding of this mysterious guy. Although it is not certain whether Shenzan has both Bloodwheel Eye and Rinnegan at the same time, it is shocking enough. Bo Luo is going to fight against the Battle of the Gods in the next game. He no longer has the mind to compete with the Battle of the Gods. Instead, out of higher considerations, he must try his best to force the Battle of the Gods to use the Bloodwheel Eye or Rinnegan. It has to be determined whether he has both. If this is the case, then the purpose of Shenzan coming to the Land of Water is intriguing. Is it to find the 3rd eye? Or is there a secret that cannot be told? Advertisement. The learned Bo Luo fell into deep thought, but he had already thought about how to force him to use these two eyes. So Bola said, "It's not difficult to do, I'm sure I'll get to know this person better next time." This person is naturally Bola, and Bola said the first sentence after seeing the Battle of the Gods, "The people of Konoha, the Uchiha clan, why did you come here?" The feeling is terrifying and startling. Uchiha Qiye, who has been sitting in the lounge, still feels a little bored. The secret measures of the Land of Water are really well done. He doesn't know who the remaining two people are about to face. Shen Zan didn't have any preparations and precautions in his heart, and he was directly seen by the man in front of him. Now there is not much time left, so the three of them are separated. Avery is still in the medical room, and Terumi Mei naturally returned to his summit platform, but at this time Terumi Mei's heart is no less than a 10th magnitude earthquake. Because he knew that only the Uchiha clan of Konoha truly possessed the Blood Wheel Eye, and Shen Zan did have the qualification of the Blood Wheel Eye. In that case, it belonged to the Uchiha family. Uji 840 Wave Qiye saw a man with a serious face and arrogance coming over, and he knew his aura was powerful and gave people a very decent feeling. However, it seems that one is stronger than the other. First, the 7 people released the ninja swords to test the strength of the Battle of Gods. The latter two were evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of the Battle of Gods, preparing to understand this man better. As a contestant, Bolan naturally came to the backstage, although it was long overdue. Chapter 312 You Know Too Much. Forcibly Erase Memories. Chapter 312 You Know Too Much. Forcibly Erase Memories. He has always been accustomed to pretending to be forceful, but the feeling of being placed directly by someone still makes him unable to figure it out. Uchiha Qiye, who has been in the rivers and lakes all the year round, will naturally do a very good job of facial management. Although he is shocked, he is still as usual. So he asked, "Who are you?" Boluo understood in his heart that although Shenzan did not admit it, he did not refute him, so he said, "I am the Emperor of the Water Kingdom, the person who is about to start a war with you. Respect each other as an enemy. You should tell me whether it is fire or not." The people sent from the country? Because Shenzan was swaggering and pretending to be forceful every day, of course, it aroused the vigilance of the high-level officials of the country of water, so Shenzan smiled and said, "I can only tell me that I have no national position, and I do not represent a certain ethnic group, other no comment." Of course, Boluo knew that Shenzan would not reveal his life experience so easily, so he smiled indifferently. A person who has both Blood Wheel Eye and Rinnegan does not need a national position, because you are completely above it, right? This is the secret that the Battle of God has always protected. In many battles, if he really opened the Eye of Eternity as a skill battle, then these people would not even be able to watch it, and would not play so many rounds at all. It is the point of instant kill. Because Shen Zan just didn't want to reveal his true origin and highest combat power, but this Bola, the mysterious man who called himself the Emperor's teacher, could pierce through his everything at once, which is not a scary thing. Shen Zan didn't know how this person saw it, because he had never appeared before. How did Boluo know? It was a mystery. At this time of crisis, God Zan must make his own moves. Advertisement, Eternal Eye, open. Shen Zan opened the eyes of Eternal Mangekyo and Eternal Rinnegan at the same time. When these eyes were opened at the same time, in the silent lounge, Boluo was shocked to the point of trembling all over. It can be said to be spectacular, and it is simply too amazing. It was the first time in his life that Bola, who traveled around the world, saw such an amazing sight. He said incredulously, "One is the Eternal Mangekyo Blood Wheel Eye, and the other is the Eye of Eternal Reincarnation. You really have a godhead." Uchiha Qiye smiled faintly, "Although I still don't know how you know me so well, it is necessary for me to find out the truth." Boluo hadn't figured out why the Battle of Gods was shown to him by Chicheng. At this time, Boluo's mind was blank, because it was too late to think. Uchiha Kai's Eternal Eye can see through various events that a person has experienced in the past, so it is necessary for him to see how Boluo guessed. "Open your eyes." The eyes released the spell together, and everything about Boluo's experience was displayed one by one, of money, in front of Uchiha Qiye. And Boluo seemed to have all his defenses torn apart, and his memories were all displayed in front of Uchiha Kai's eyes with utmost loyalty. This kind of feeling is extremely uncomfortable. All kinds of honors and dirty and filthy behaviors are so nakedly displayed. But fortunately, Boluo is indeed an upright person, and his voice is either in pursuit of ninjutsu. Chapter 313 Outrageous. I seem to have forgotten something. Chapter 313 Outrageous. I seem to have forgotten something. Either he gave everything for the Land of Water, and finally raised Terumi Mei into a capable person and finally ran out to enjoy the happiness. But the conversation between Terumi Mei and him, as well as the scene shown by the medical ninja Ellie just now, has also been seen by Uchiha Qiye. At this time, Uchiha Qiye waited for a pair of amazing eyes and said, "I see, I was negligent. When your medical ninjas are treating people, they can find out all the structures that are being treated, so this is why you are being treated by you." Found 840, 39. Because Boluo's memory is very candidly displayed, there is nothing to explain at all, so he snorted and said, "Yes, so what, let's talk. Is it that your country of fire wants to do something to our country of water? What hands and feet did you send out of the Uchiha family?" Uchiha Qiye shook his head and said, "Sorry, no comment, you will forget all this eventually." Boluo frowned, not understanding what Uchiha Qiye wanted to express. Uchiha Qiye also said, "Don't you understand? I can fully reveal your memories, and naturally I can cut off your memories. No matter how much you recall, you won't be able to recall them at all." Bola was horrified. He really couldn't accept that he would lose his memory, but in front of such a powerful person, He had completely imprisoned everything about himself, as if he was being slaughtered by others. I won't allow it. You can't do this, Bola yelled, subconsciously wanting to call someone to help. Uchiha Qiye glanced at him lightly and smiled slightly. Don't worry, you are a good person, so upright, patriotic and dedicated, helping young people. How could I harm you? I just want to cut off some of your important memories about me. Advertisement. At this time, Uchiha Qiye seemed to be a very comforting demon, and his faint sneer seemed to be the smile of a BECJ demon. Suddenly, Uchiha Kai's eternal Mangekyo bloodwheel eyes shone with scarlet light, directly cutting off everything that Boluo had learned from Eli. But for a few seconds, Bola roared in pain, and the feeling of having his memory cut off was as if someone had cut his own muscles with a knife. Shen Zan stood up first and glanced at Boluo with a strange look, implying that Boluo was as boring as a lunatic. Bola knew that what he was facing was a battle of gods, but he didn't know why he came here. Finally, Boluo slowly opened his eyes, and looked at Zan with a dazed look. He didn't know when he came to Shenjan's lounge, as if there was a blank memory. Shen Zan has already recovered his eyes, looking like a harmless beast, and asked inexplicably, "Excuse me, sir, what's the matter?" But only for a few seconds. At this moment, there was a commotion outside the arena. Please enter the two contestants, 99. And Boro can't remember what happened. He hesitated. You. Looking at Boluo, who looked a little confused, Shen Zan felt funny in his heart, but he was not ashamed at all. It was just that the core secrets about Shen Zan were removed, and other things were not damaged at all. Chapter 314. Come on. The appearance of the Emperor is like a god descending. Chapter 314. Come on. The appearance of the Emperor is like a god descending. But knowing that he was about to fight the gods to the death, he forced himself to cheer up. The two of them came to the final venue one after the other. Looking at it, the ground and surrounding objects that were bombed by Uchiha Qiye just now have been restored to their original state. It seems that the repair work of the Land of Water has been done very well. Uchiha Qiye stood on the field and won waves of cheers from the crowd. At this time, his status in the country of water is getting higher and higher, and he has almost reached the point of being a household name. The person who followed Uchiha Qiye on the field was Emperor Boluo. Boluo was wearing a missionary-like suit with a hood on his head. He looked like a martyr in the dark. People can see and understand what kind of person this is. Because of the confidentiality of the contestants in the Land of Water, no one knows what weight class is participating in the confrontation with the God of War. But according to the usual practice, the strength must be getting stronger and stronger. People think that the 7 people of the ninja sword are enough to represent the force value of the country of water. I didn't expect that there are 2 more powerful than them. So even the audience is very much looking forward to who this person is. A missionary. It's so mysterious that we can't even see who it is. Hey, pretending to be mysterious, I think the battle of gods is invincible, and there is no one who can defeat him in the Land of Water. Don't talk nonsense. Our country of water is full of talents, and there must be someone who can win the battle of gods. 39. You and I in the audience almost quarreled with each other. The missionary had just come to power. Looking at the people of the Land of Water, he finally took off his hood, revealing his true face of Mount Lu. Advertisement. The crowd who had been noisy just now suddenly became completely quiet at this moment. They looked at Boluo's figure and suddenly couldn't remember who this person was, but they were very familiar. Suddenly, a middle-aged man who responded quickly shouted, "Oh my god, I read it right, isn't this the Emperor Boluo of our water kingdom?" Yes, Bola, the figure whose statue stands in the eastern main city of the Land of Water, the shadow ninja of the Land of Water in all dynasties, is the highest esoteric water style taught by him. Boluo, who went through fire and water for the country of water and became a national idol hero. Uchiha Qiye actually didn't expect that this Bola was so popular, but it's not surprising, because he had seen Boluo's memory. This man did not do anything wrong, but he was upright, serving the country and the people. Do your best to be a true hero. Isn't this the Emperor's teacher, who has disappeared for more than 10 years, and the character of Shenlong can't see the end? After a brief silence, as more and more people recognized Boluo, there was a louder cheering sound, as if seeing the savior's feelings. The sound was higher than the sound. And this was almost discovered by Boluo. If it wasn't for Uchiha Kai's divine personality to forcibly erase his memory, then this time I'm afraid he really would have to expose himself. Oh, it's really Boro. My god, we really saw that right. Thinking of this, Uchiha Qiye is no longer willing to kill this person, but he still has to defeat him, because the pretense point must be harvested, which is the ultimate goal of his coming to the Land of Water. For Flowers. 0. My idol in adolescence, the genius who interprets the profound meaning of water style incisively and vividly. Chapter 315. The Peak Showdown of Water Style. Chapter 315. The Peak Showdown of Water Style. Boluo's water style stunt is second to none in the country of water, and Uchiha Qiye is also the person who claims to have obtained the most profound meaning of water style. The duel between the two must be wonderful. At this time, Terumi Mei was sitting on the summit platform, staring closely at the battle between them, hoping that Boluo could give her a better explanation of everything about the Battle of Gods. But Boluo frowned slightly, facing the 840. In front of the Battle of God, he knew that he must defeat him, so as to solve the mystery about him, but he seemed to have forgotten something extremely important, but no matter how much I think about it, I can't remember. Boluo shook his head indistinctly. No matter how much, he used his housekeeping stunt water style to defeat this arrogant guy. Boy, I heard that you have obtained the profound meaning of water style. It is so rampant in our country of water. How about we come to compare water style today? Bola took off his missionary uniform, revealing the clothes of Jonin, the country of water. The red and white ninja uniform was full of a very primitive feeling of water and fire. The battle is imminent. Uchiha Qiye smiled coldly and said, although the water style is popular in your country of water, without exception, you don't understand the essence of water style at all, but you just put some effort on the surface. As soon as these words come out, it can be said that they are pretending to be big, because almost all the audience are from the country of water. Shenzan said that his own water style is the essence and meaning, and the country of water that prevails in water style is very superficial. If the War of Gods really shows the profound meaning of water style that crushes everything, the residents who conquer all the land of water will naturally break out, but if they fail, they will lose their wife and lose their soldiers, which is tantamount to a gamble. Advertisement Bola has lived such a long life, and he has always spent it in the admiration and respect of everyone, and no one can provoke him at all, but Bola is a magnanimous and fierce person, and he doesn't care about this provocation at all. The conversation between them is not as good as a warm-up before the game, but it has been agreed that they will try water style, the skills that both sides are best at, so no one will use other chakra spells. The referee saw that it was almost over, so he stepped forward and said, the game starts, life or death. The audience fell into complete silence because they realized that this was going to be a very exciting fight. Uchiha Qiye didn't even have any seals, and directly evaporated except for the water style enchantment, and a mist-like water vapor lingered around his most protective defense. On the contrary, Bola did not arrange defense for himself, but directly launched a fierce attack, water style, water dragon bomb technique. As soon as he came up, a level ninjutsu broke out, and 5 water dragons suddenly appeared around, and they screamed for 9 days, rushing directly towards Uchiha Qiye. Uchiha Qiye not only uses water style to protect his body, he will also attack each other with Bola, water style, water blade. It is also a level ninjutsu, it depends on who is more skilled in ninjutsu. One after another water dragon rushed towards Uchiha Qiye at a very fast speed. After the latter released 2.9, he had an extra handful in his hand. Water sword. The sword was like the waves of the Mad Sea, like a sharp weapon in Uchiha Qiye's hand. He slashed a few times in the face of the water dragons. 1, 2, 3, until the 7 water dragons were all chopped into water vapor by Uchiha Qiye, which ended their offense and defense. Bola didn't give Uchiha Qiye time to breathe at all. Chapter 317 Are you also worthy of being an emperor? You lost. Chapter 317 Are you also worthy of being an emperor? You lost. The water force was out of control in an instant, and it erupted thousands of feet away. Those spectators who had been far away from the stadium had a premonition that they were about to be attacked by the water force. Terumi Mei saw that something was wrong and immediately shouted, Jonin protects the audience. There are still a lot of Jonins in the land of water. Hundreds of Jonins flew out one by one, and immediately used Earth Style to protect everyone. Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall, 35. In an instant, a barrier with a height of about 100 jong rose up, firmly protecting the audience. Sure enough, in less than a second, the S-level water style ninjutsu that Bola and Shenzhen collided with suddenly slammed over, and the Earth Flow Wall was washed away layer by layer, and a cracking sound was heard. But the hundreds of shadow ninjas are not vegetarians. They condensed the earth-type chakra in their hands, pushed them on the strong, and firmly defended the power released by the two people because they attacked each other. Even if it is thousands of meters away, it has such a powerful power, and it is the accidental injury of these two people. It is already conceivable how strong the power of the scene is. Because of the refraction of Terumi Mei water style, even so, people can still see what is going on in the field. I saw that the S-class water style, which collided with each other in the field, finally came to an end. The two actually had the same strength in water style, neither of them was injured, and they stood in their place and looked at each other. The picture is very clear now, but the last Jonin still didn't want to remove the defense of the Earth Flow Wall. What if the two of them burst into the sky again? Advertisement Bo Luo said, God War, I admit your water style, but I hope that the battle will be resolved quickly and come out with your highest strength. But at this time, Shenzan sneered, shook his head and said, you can't understand my water style at all, you lost Bola, 95. Bo Luo frowned, and his eyes did not understand the meaning of the Battle of the Gods. Shenzan continued, you only cancelled out the power with my water dragon, but you failed to prevent my blockade of your chakra, 99. Shenzan asked, have you seen my game video? I used to use this water style, I can completely control my body and do water flow. As soon as he said this, Bo Luo subconsciously felt the flow of his chakra, suddenly looked at the war in horror, raised his finger tremblingly, you. Shenzan shook his head and said, is this also worthy of the title of Emperor Shi? It's incredible. Just when I was attacking with a water dragon, because of the huge power of the two streams of water, I took advantage of this gap to freeze the water in your body, which naturally stopped your chakra from flowing, lost to Boro. And Bo Luo had to admit that at that very moment, he used the flow of chakra all over his body to collide with the attack of Shenzan, and he didn't notice that Shenzan was a genius ninja who didn't need a seal. Money. Unknowingly used the control of the water style to freeze the water in the body. The battle of gods must seize every point that can be forced. Shenzan shrugged his shoulders, thinking he had won. At this time, Bola was already like a sculpture, a piece of wood stood on the ground, and the hand used to point to the battle of the gods was also stiff and motionless. Although he didn't die, he thought in his heart that the battle of gods was really difficult to deal with. Chapter 318 Surprise Lava Style Chapter 318 Surprise Lava Style Naturally, I can also control all the surrounding water, including the water in the enemy's body. I can also freely control it. After finishing speaking, Terumi Mei stared in surprise, although she knew that Shen Zan did have such magical abilities, but as long as she paid attention to her chakra airflow, she could resist this kind of attack. She did not expect that the speed of the Battle of the Gods would be so fast. Of course, she couldn't blame Boluo for underestimating the enemy, because the spell of the Battle of Gods did not need a seal at all. The audience naturally understood what was going on, and exclaimed, "This is too strong, even our Emperor 840 can't do anything about him." It seems that the Battle of God is the real god of war, there is no doubt about it. Isn't it equivalent to being invincible to be able to freely control the moisture in the enemy's body? 35. People were talking about it, thinking that the situation was over. Even the referee felt that it was almost the same, so he walked slowly to the front of the stage and was about to announce the result. But at this moment, an abnormality appeared. I saw that Boluo's body was constantly emitting water vapor, and within a few seconds, the stiff feeling had completely dissolved, and the whole person, BECJ, suddenly recovered. When the referee saw the situation, he silently retreated. Although no one knew what happened, Boluo recovered again. Advertisement. Even Uchiha Qiye glanced at Boluo a little strangely. Obviously this person has been completely blocked from the flow of chakra, and it was frozen like a popsicle. Unless he solved it by himself. How could he solve it by himself? Boro has fully recovered and said, "It's good, God War, but the flow of chakra you blocked is too one-sided, and my water style is more than that." As he spoke, something like magma emerged from his hand, which was as strong as a fireball, but clearly belonged to the water style. Uchiha Qiye glanced at it, was very surprised, and exclaimed, "Water and fire are compatible, water and fire are compatible. This is the blood sacrifice limit of your water country, lava style." Lava style is actually not a difficult thing for Uchiha Qiye, but it is a link between water style and fire style, but it still belongs to water style in general, and it cannot be said that Bolaw is foul. You must know that lava style is the boundary of blood sacrifice. This is the inheritance of blood. How can it be achieved with hard work? Boluo shook his head. "You are really arrogant." 35. Uchiha Qiye laughed. "It's just lava style. Although I haven't learned it before, I'll be using it soon." I saw an active volcano appearing out of thin air above Bolaw. The volcano erupted with the sound of extremely violent landslides and ground fissures, and the magma was billowing. Qiye felt a scorching atmosphere. Boluo smiled and nodded and said, "You have the knowledge. Once my lava style starts running, the water style you used to freeze my energy veins will naturally evaporate. How about you?" 99. The magma burst out suddenly in Boluo's hands, and rushed directly towards the cosmic wave Qiye. Bolaw no longer talked nonsense with Uchiha Qiye, and directly displayed lava style's unique ninjutsu, lava style, Yanhee technique. And the latter knows that this hot magma is not water style, and if it is stuck to a little bit, it will directly burn itself. Chapter 319 The Song of Ice and Fire amazes the audience. Chapter 319 The Song of Ice and Fire amazes the audience. The extremely powerful and strong magma is attacking Uchiha Qiye, and Uchiha Qiye can only use a more powerful water style to fight. Ice Shield, Wolf Tooth Avalanche, Ice Shield. This belongs to water style, but it is completely higher than water style. It is a higher level of water style and belongs to the boundary of blood sacrifice, but there is no blood sacrifice boundary at all, so how could Ice Shield be used? Water style is divided into extremely hot water and extremely cold water. This extremely hot water is the lava style, and the extremely cold water is the Ice Shield, all of which are the two extremes of the water style. Bolaw uses lava style for the hot water extreme, and Shen Zan uses the Ice Shield for the cold water extreme. I saw a frozen snow-capped mountain above the Battle of the Gods, surrounded by cold air, extremely cold, and suddenly an avalanche began. The heavy snow filled the top of the Battle of the Gods, and suddenly, with the tendency to freeze thousands of miles, it rushed straight to lava style. Advertisement. The two extreme water styles collided with each other once again. The lava style quickly condensed into ice in the freezer, and the Ice Shield boiled again under the lava style's offensive. It depends on which of the two is more powerful, strong. After more than 10 seconds of mutual attack, the iceberg finally melted, the volcano collapsed, and the ice and fire all turned into steam. This time, the attack on each other ended in a draw again. Because it was too exciting, the audience watched with wide-eyed eyes. They had never seen such a wonderful competition in their lives. I don't know who it was, but they applauded first. Although this competition was not of a performance nature, but of killing each other, it turned into an exhibition match inexplicably. With one person leading the way, the others followed suit and applauded. There were 60,000 spectators in the entire arena, and the applause was thunderous and deafening. Terumi Mei, who was sitting on the summit platform, fell into contemplation. Her teacher seemed to be really powerful, and she was able to draw a tie with the Battle of Gods. But Shen Zan just said that lava style is nothing special, he can learn it if he wants to, which makes Terumi Mei very unhappy. Lava style is clearly the boundary of blood sacrifice. It is impossible to say that you can learn it when you learn it. It is a blessing flowing in the blood. It is a problem of genes, which is a problem of learning. But the Ice Shield shown in the Battle of the Gods just now is clearly the boundary of blood sacrifice. Can this kind of thing really be learned? Advertisement. For flowers. She doesn't believe it, she never believes it. The applause came one after another, and it took 5 minutes before it slowly subsided. Uchiha Qiye felt that this Bolaw was indeed a master of water style, and it was really difficult to compete in this way, so he wanted to fight quickly. Uchiha Qiye said, "Bolo, I don't want to waste time with you, let me have a showdown with you. Zero Boluo's desire to win has never been as strong as it is today, because no one can beat him in terms of water style, but the battle of God in front of him has such a high talent that he can't tell the difference for a while. Boluo responded, bring out your best housekeeping skills, and let us decide the outcome with one move. Seeing what Boluo meant, he actually had a hidden trick that he hadn't used yet. Uchiha Qiye slowly closed his eyes, because he had never seen lava style before, but now he saw it for the first time, and he wanted to learn on the spot. He felt that it was not difficult. Lava style is nothing more than bringing together two seemingly incompatible chakra energies, water style and fire style, but Cosmic Wave Qiye feels that he can do it. Chapter 320 Revealing the Secret, How Did Lava Style Come to Be? Chapter 320 Revealing the Secret, How Did Lava Style Come to Be? This is actually a challenge for Uchiha Qiye, but he also worked hard to pretend. Now that he has put down his rhetoric and said that lava style, the country of water's housekeeping skills, is something he can learn on the spot, then if he can't learn it now, he will lose face. But if it is really shown on the spot, it will definitely be famous for 840, and the pretending point will show an exponential growth. Imagining the strongest ninjutsu Inayami and the strongest weapon, the Excalibur, Uchiha Qiye must have an epiphany on the spot even if he exerts his milk-feeding strength. Gradually, after he closed his eyes, he felt the mutual blending between water style and fire style in his body. After the sudden blending, the two chakras, which were originally extremely exclusive, attacked each other without exception. Obviously, this approach is completely useless. Boluo, who had been standing opposite the Cosmic Wave Qiye, looked at him coldly, not believing that this man could learn the boundaries of blood sacrifice in such a short period of time. Uchiha Qiye failed after several attempts, but he suddenly remembered a truth: water can make wood, and wood can make fire, so the best link between water and fire is wood. Water is the mother of wood, and wood is the mother of fire. If wood is used to adjust water and fire, there is a way to combine them. Advertisement: so Uchiha Qiye's chakra, water style and fire style are no longer abruptly compatible, because they cannot be compatible at all. At the same time, the wood attribute chakra is mobilized, and the three chakras of water, fire and wood are combined in a range. At this time, water and fire are finally compatible. Uchiha Qiye's body is extremely cold for a while, and then extremely hot for a while. In this alternating heat and cold, the water and fire chakra are constantly intertwined and conflicted, but because of the existence of wood style, they finally live in harmony with each other, forming a water and fire taiji diagram. In the end, water style and fire style are perfectly integrated to form lava style. Gradually, an extremely unfamiliar, but very familiar chakra attribute to Terumi Mei and Boluo suddenly erupted in the hands of Uchiha Qiye. Lava style chakra. Lava style blooms with dazzling brilliance in the hands of Uchiha Qiye. Such a pure and powerful lava style is incomparable to even Boluo. Water and fire are intertwined in the hands of the Cosmic Wave Qiye, and finally become a magma-like, extremely destructive ninjutsu, and the stronger part of this lava style is that it can be completely transformed into fire style and ice with Uchiha Qiye's thoughts. Shield, it can be seen that the skill has been thoroughly penetrated to the point of essence between the exchange of each other. Boluo was completely stunned at this time, cold sweat dripped down his neck, and he asked in disbelief, Shenzan, how is this possible, what the hell have you done? And Terumi Mei didn't even understand what was going on at all. Everything displayed in the Battle of the Gods has completely surpassed her cognition of the boundaries of blood sacrifice. It was obviously a ninjutsu brought out from her genes, but she was so swayed by the Battle of Gods, learned. 2.9 in God Wars can also use lava style to transform between fire style and ice escape. How amazing, even great. Uchiha Qiye smiled arrogantly. This is your arrogant lava style. I can't see it like that. It's just a problem of mutual tolerance between chakras. Simply put, it's just a trick, no big deal. Chapter 321 The Gorgeous and Strongest Lava Style is coming soon. Chapter 321 The Gorgeous and Strongest Lava Style is coming soon. All the performances of Uchiha Qiye, the tens of thousands of spectators at the scene were all watching. They stared at this magical change without blinking, as if they were watching magic, but the magic is false, but the war of gods is indeed real. Miracle. Call it great. God War is simply a god tier. It's not just a genius, it's a miracle. Lava style seems to be more than just a technique unique to genetics, it seems that there are other ways to have it. God Zan is the only one in 14 who broke the rules of this world. The audience of tens of thousands of people talked a lot, and it was like a boiling pot. Whether it was in the land of water or not, people from the land of water all cast an unusually adoring look at the Battle of Gods. Ding. Pretend point increased by 9,999, 39, ding. Pretend point increased by 8,888. Ding. Pretend point increased by 7,777, 55 wave after wave of pretending points was like an ocean tide, constantly rushing towards Uchiha Qiye. His system kept receiving prompts for the increase of pretending points, and he couldn't figure it out for a while. Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, this wave of pretense points has increased by at least 100,000, and it is closer to Ina Shieme's study. Advertisement seeing that this wave of pretense was almost coming to an end, Uchiha Qiye said to Boluo, let me tell you how strong the real water style's strongest realm is. The so-called lava style is a combination of water style and fire style. Ninjas must have both chakras to run, but your chakras may not be pure, only I can display the strongest lava style, 99. Cosmic Wave Qiye means that he can not only learn lava style, but also show these people the strongest form of lava style. This is more than pretending, it is simply a textbook of God. Boluo has not yet come out of the shock, and anyone will be shocked because the realm displayed by the battle of gods is the strength that changes the rules of heaven and earth. Now he also said that the lava style of the land of water is not strong enough, and he can tell the people of the land of water what the most powerful lava style looks like. Not only Boluo, but even Terumi Mei was a little curious after the shock, what this man's so-called strongest lava style is, so he even very much hoped that the battle of the gods could be shown. More than these people, the 60,000 viewers behind them, as well as the 40,000 viewers who watched from various corners and nooks, add up to a total of 100,000 people, and they all hope that Shenzhen can show the strongest evolution of lava style. Bola said, if that's the case, I want to be impressed. Uchiha Qiye knew that if there was no accident in this wave of 840, it would definitely be able to harvest the world's pretense points, and it would not be a problem to skyrocket hundreds of thousands at once. According to the basic theory just now, he understands that the mutual harmony of water, fire and wood constitutes lava style. Then the lava style obtained by reconciling the three attributes of ultimate is the lava style of ultimate, that is, the strongest state of lava style. The ultimate of water is ice escape, the ultimate of fire is samadhi true fire, and the ultimate of wood style is immortal blue dragon wood. Uchiha Qiye showed it to them on the spot. The left hand was lingering with an extremely cold ice tunnel, and the ice tunnel was like a diamond shining with extremely cold demeanor, spinning non-stop radiating brilliance. The right hand slammed out a fire group, but this fire group was different from other fire groups. Chapter 322 Lava Style. Moonlight shines together. Chapter 322 Lava Style. Moonlight shines together. There is a fundamental difference. There are three clusters of flames in the fire group that are chasing each other. The knowledgeable person naturally exclaimed, this is clearly the real fire of Samadhi. The highest level of fire style in the legend of Samadhi true fire can burn everything in this time. The visible and invisible ghosts and sprites can be wiped out in an instant if they touch the Samadhi true fire. Uchiha Qiye gently threw the ice escape and Samadhi true fire into the air, and now he only has one last level left, which is ultimate wood style. People who have never seen Uchiha Qiye's seal, this is the first time to see this mysterious man's seal. Sage art, Xinglong wood style. The so-called Xinglong wood style is inspired by Oriental wood. The truth is that the Oriental people regard themselves as descendants of the dragon. The green dragon represents the wood, and the ultimate of the wood is the green dragon. And this set of spells belongs to the Xinglong wood style in sage art. If the real fire of Samadhi just now was not enough to shock everyone, then the use of sage art was enough to make everyone in the audience gasp. This battle of gods is not only the 5 elements of Grandmaster Chakra, but also can use ninjutsu other than the 5 elements, that is, the legendary fairy jutsu. In the ordinary ninja world, there is no inheritance of immortality at all, and only the Toad Sage can be summoned through the summoning ceremony. Only those with pure and kind heart recognized by the patriarch of the Toad family can practice immortality. Advertisement that this god of war, who can actually use immortality, must have a deep connection with the land of Toad Sage, and he has practiced in that distant unknown country. Now it seems that Uchiha Qiye is the only one left in the world. Everyone else, including his titular opponent Boluo, is in shock, watching him carefully and continuing to pretend. Sage art, Xinglong wood style. This is an extremely difficult ninjutsu move, because Uchiha Qiye has never needed a seal at all, but the release of the Xinglong wood style actually made a seal. It can be seen how much Cosmic Wave Qiye attaches great importance to this move, and this how difficult is the spell to release. This is Ultimate's wood style chakra, lava style, moonlight and fire. In the end, it turned into a stream of green light, and in this light, Xinglong kept spinning his body, becoming the size of the palm of his hand. When Uchiha Qiye casts his own lava style skills, Uchiha Qiye absorbed all the 3 types of chakra into his body after preparation, and after a while of sorting and fusion, he finally completed lava style. The Cosmic Wave Kai's knot is dazzling, and people with excellent eyesight can see that he is releasing hundreds of knot gestures every 0.1 seconds. It took a whole second to finally knot. After printing, you can know how much action is needed to release this spell. When he opened his eyes again, it was time to defeat Bola and convince this so-called emperor. In this way, all 3 types of chakra, water, fire, wood, and chakra are gathered together, and their respective channels, money ones, are linked together, claiming that they will form the most powerful lava style. The green dragon wood style was finally released, and a green dragon suddenly sprang out from the surrounding lush jungle, roared at everyone present, and then ran towards Uchiha Qiye. Chapter 323 The strongest spear attacks the strongest shield. Chapter 323 The strongest spear attacks the strongest shield. Even in the bright sun at this time, the moonlight in the sky suddenly shot a moonlight from an unknown angle, which complemented lava style in the hands of Uchiha Qiye. A flame was born, and then lava style broke out. The bright moonlight spreads all over the earth, and the scalding flame temperature can start a prairie fire. The mutual reflection of the moon and the fire forms the strongest lava style. This is 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 10,000 times stronger than ordinary lava style. With a loud bang, Uchiha Qiye swung the ultimate melting 840 escape in his hand directly at Boluo, who was staring in his pocket. If this move hits, then Boluo would not even be able to find any bones. Like the power of an atomic bomb, everyone was sweating for Bola. At this time, Bola recovered from his stunned eyes, realizing that he was about to encounter a disaster, and immediately activated all his defense systems. Earth style, Yellow Springs Marsh. When it comes to this move, Cosmic Wave Qiye is interested. This is an S-rank ninjutsu, which can be called the strongest defense. Originally, Earth style focuses on defense, and Wangshen Marsh is the most powerful defense in defense. I saw 3 walls immediately erected in the sky, and each wall was blessed by the gods. It was the triple door of the god of Earth style. The battle between the strongest lava style and the strongest Earth style defense, 35. Advertisement, it's so exciting, let's see if the attack of God War is stronger, or the defense of Earth style is stronger, 35. It turns out that Bola can not only know water style, but also Earth style. He is indeed an emperor. I don't think this is inappropriate. It is clearly stated that only the water style spell can be used to compete, but Bola has already used the Earth style. Lava style finally hit the wall of size. With a loud bang, the ground trembled, and the air distorted due to the strong impact. This wall of size seems to be full of spirituality. On the wall is a portrait of the god of Earth style, with a hideous face and eyes fixed on lava style. It is indeed true to say this, but there is no way. Boluo is to save his life. Where can he care about the rules? Because this is a wall blessed by the god of Earth style. In between, lava style exuded a very strong brilliance and hit the first wall with a BECJ. The wall seemed to be paper pasted, and it disintegrated in an instant, and the gravel splashed. When we reached the second wall, the defense was stronger than the first, but the lava style kept spinning. The powerful spinning force was coupled with its extremely scorching temperature, and within a few seconds, I saw the second wall. A crack appeared in the wall, and once there was a crack, a second and a third crack appeared, and finally it burst completely with a bang. Lava style didn't let out the slightest force at all, as if nothing could stop him from moving forward, and suddenly slammed into the last wall. The nickname of the wall of size has been around for a long time. The reason why it is called this name can be easily understood literally, because no matter how hard you try, no matter how powerful you are, this wall will never be broken, and it will protect it steadily. Everything behind the wall. The last wall, that is the wall blessed by the god of Earth style, can be called the strongest defense. No matter how pervert the attack, as long as there is the last wall, it is absolutely impossible to be crushed, so all ninjas regard this wall as a Sai wall. Chapter 324 The legendary wall of the strongest Sai is broken. Chapter 324 The legendary wall of the strongest Sai is broken. Naturally, it has the face of Earth style. If this is broken, how will the god of Earth style be mixed up? But lava style is unyielding. After all, this is a powerful attack composed of 3 different ultimate chakras in one. Just hit Earth style. The two were at a stalemate, and the attributes of the true fire of Samadhi suddenly skyrocketed, and the entire wall of size looked like it was about to melt in a fire. But the wall of size is worthy of the strongest defense. Even if it has been burned to a super high temperature, it still does not melt. And the ice shield seems to be a sharp knife constantly sprinting at the defense of the wall of size, but after a while, there is a gap between the sides. There was a stab, although the sound was small, but someone with some eyesight could clearly see it, and there was a 5-meter crack between the sides. Finally, the soul of lava style, Xinglong wood style, seems to have the help of the dragon god in lava style. The green Xinglong suddenly roared, and instantly brought the power of Samadhi true fire and ice shield to ultimate. Boom! A huge explosion sounded flat. The wall of size burst open in an instant, and even because of the existence of the Samadhi true fire, not even a trace of the dregs was burned. The legend about the wall of size is really just a legend from now on. Shenzan completely shattered the absolute defense of Earth-style S-level defensive ninjutsu with his own power. This scene completely shocked everyone at the scene. The power of the Battle of Gods is simply indescribable. However, in this attack, lava style also consumed a lot of energy, which was obviously weaker than before. Although the light was no longer so bright, it still possessed absolute power. It hit Bola at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. Advertisement boom. Bola was hit hard by lava style and fell to the ground all of a sudden. Boluo's body was scalding hot for a while, and he couldn't move like an ice sculpture for a while. But Uchiha Qiye couldn't bear the death of Bola at all. From this person's memory, Uchiha Qiye knew that he was an upright person, a great man who sacrificed himself to achieve the greater self. So Uchiha Qiye immediately turned his hand to the palm of his hand, FK. Asterisk hash asterisk. Asterisk hash asterisk. This kind of behavior is the kindness of the strong, which is the kindness. Zero Uchiha Qiye waved his hand, and lava style disappeared like the wind. Boluo, who was stopped by Uchiha Qiye from attacking, simply recovered a small life, but because of the tortured attack of ice and fire, of course, he was seriously injured. All audiences know that even if Shenzan kills Boluo, he still does not violate the rules and is still a winner, but Shenzan, even though he could kill Boluo, immediately retracted his attack, just to protect Boluo. Luo is dead. Because Bola is the emperor of the country of water, for the sake of the country of water, he did his best. People's admiration and reverence for Uchiha Qiye suddenly became more profound, and there was even a moving emotion in their hearts. A group of Jonin immediately went up and carried the unconscious Bola back to the infirmary. Lava style seemed to be alive, and suddenly retreated from Boluo's body and returned to Kai's hands, like a luminous pearl, more crystal clear than the luminous pearl. Even in the daytime, it still shone like a diamond. Chapter 325 A knife and 999 massive loading points are waiting for you. Chapter 325 A knife and 999 massive loading points are waiting for you. It can be said that all the people here love him, and it is difficult to accept that he was killed like this. However, the battle of gods has nothing to do with the country of water, and it can kill Bola with affection and reason, but people still show mercy and only hurt Bola. There is already some kindness and gratitude in this relationship, and Uchiha Qiye won the hearts of everyone in the 840. God battle, invincible, God war, stay in our water country. The voices of the masses have been extremely loud, and people are very fond of Shenzhen, and this kind of love has even surpassed that of Bola. Ding. Pretend point increased by 30,000. Ding. Pretend point increased by 20,000. Ding. Pretend point increased by 10,000. The growth rate like a tide made Uchiha Qiye extremely happy, and after today's battle was over, he could probably have hundreds of thousands of pretending points. The game was a little stunned for this wonderful game, and it was not until the crowd cheered that they stepped forward to announce the victory of the Battle of Gods. After the excitement, it was finally calm, and Uchiha Qiye returned to his lounge, wondering who the last person who came to fight was. Advertisement. I have to say that in this game, he had already wasted a lot of chakra. When he thought of this, Uchiha Qiye suddenly thought of Eli, the senior medical ninja who transmitted chakra for him last time. It was this Eli who peeped into Uchiha Kai's body structure during the process of transmitting chakra for him, and told Terumi Mei and Bola the secret that he had both blood wheel eyes and Rinnegan. Bola was well informed and immediately guessed that Uchiha Qiye was wearing the vest of God's War, and it was very likely that he was a member of the Uchiha family from Konoha. This is dangerous. He is just here to harvest and pretend. If it directly affects the relationship between countries, this is not what Uchiha Qiye wants to see. With a creak, the door was pushed open from the outside. This time it was still Avery, and it became Uchiha Kai's personal care. Because there was no one else during the break, Ellie said softly after entering, "Mr. Aries, let me continue to help you relax and restore chakra." Sure enough, there was a knock on the door, and the cosmic wave Qiye nodded and said, "Come in." Uchiha Qiye nodded and taped his back slightly. It was all Bola and Terumi Mei who instilled in her a bunch of fallacies that the interests of the land of water were 2.9 higher than everything, so Uchiha Qiye didn't blame Ari, just wanted to make her memory clear. Uchiha Qiye smiled lightly. He glanced at this Eli. In fact, she was an honest and respectful woman, because from Boluo's memory, Ellie at that time was not willing to tell others the truth about Uchiha Kai's body. Uchiha Qiye is not afraid of the spread of secrets, because this kind of thing must be a top secret. He believes that no one else can know. If it spreads to other people's ears, he can find that person by looking at the memories of these two people. Uchiha Qiye rested quietly. He knew that Ellie would continue to come over in a while, and this was her job. Since then, only Terumi Mei and Ellie know this secret, and they must find a way to clear their memories. Chapter 326. Remember the promises that each other keeps. Chapter 326. Remember the promises that each other keeps. After Ellie already knew the secret of Uchiha Kai's body structure, she actually had some restraint in her heart, suspecting that Uchiha Qiye was sent by the enemy, and her mood was not as focused as the first time. Uchiha Qiye asked, "Avery, what do you think about the secret of my body?" As soon as these words came out, the simple Eli was stunned. She really didn't expect that Shenzhen had already spied on this, and Eli was already at a loss. As a simple woman, many times she can't even cover herself up, let alone confronting such a man with high IQ and superb ninjutsu. Ellie suddenly became hesitant, and even Terumi Mei, who was watching from the outside with 14, was very nervous. Uchiha Qiye glanced out the window. He knew that Terumi Mei was hiding there, so he looked in the direction of the door, and the cosmic wave Qiye said, "Terumi Mei, the ninja of the Water Kingdom, who has been hiding at the door is not like a ninja upright. Image." Terumi Mei's body suddenly stiffened. He originally planned to hide his ostrich mentality and pretend he didn't hear it, but after thinking about it, the strength of the Battle of the Gods is no trivial matter. If you say that, then you must have discovered Terumi Mei, bored. So with a squeak, Terumi Mei pushed the door and entered directly. Since it has been discovered, it might be better to talk directly in person. Not to mention, advertisement Terumi Mei is drooling for the absolute power shown by the ultimate lava style of Shenzhen. Of course, she also hopes that she has this kind of ability, because she can see that Shenzhen deliberately does not kill Taudi and then does not cut it. In terms of not wanting to kill Bola at all, Shenzhen did not want to endanger the country of water at all. As long as she can be sure that this man is not harmful to the country of water, then she is willing to talk with Shenzhen about whether they can cooperate or not. Shenzhen smiled indifferently and said, "Then you have to keep your promise. If I defeat the last ultimate murderous Ori you prepared for me, the country of water will be in the future, but you and I have the final say." So Terumi Mei said, "It's natural, but we need to participate in making decisions together, and all the resources and personnel transfers in the land of water can be made by yourself. To put it bluntly, everything in the country of water can be supplied to the Battle of the Gods, and what you want is what you want." So all of a sudden, he stepped back a few steps, trying to treat himself as an outsider. After Terumi Mei came in from the door, Eli, who was still in surprise, suddenly felt relieved. She didn't want to participate in such an extremely important matter. She was just a person who gave others blood and rejuvenation. The experience of wounds is just baby. Terumi Mei glanced at Yi Ran and leaned against the wall, and said with a very relaxed Shenzhen, "As the ninja of the land of water, I haven't seen you for a long time, it's really rude, and at the same time, Mr. Shenzhen's incredible strength showed. I am also deeply admired." Terumi Mei thought, "Isn't this nonsense? If even the strongest 3-kill streak in the country of water is conquered one by one by the Battle of Gods, then the country of water can only give in. There is no other choice at all. It's a good person to be able to look forward to the Battle of God." Shenzhen said, Since it is so generous, then I will be welcome. Chapter 327 Cut off the memories of the two. Top secrets will never be revealed. Chapter 327 Cut off the memories of the two. Top secrets will never be revealed. Terumi Mei is not a woman who likes the Kabuto circle. She has always liked to talk straight, and she has never talked about the main point of the battle, but she has become impatient. Master Shenzhen, to be honest, our John and Avery has indeed fully understood your body after treating you. I want to know why you have both Rinnegan and Bloodwheel eyes. As soon as these words came out, Shenzhen's heart became more at ease. He was afraid that Terumi Mei would hide and tuck it, and it would be inconvenient to communicate. So Shenzhen said, "This is a long story, I don't think I need to discuss it with you. You just need to remember that I really like the country of water, and the country of water only has a heart of love and no covetousness." Terumi Mei frowned slightly, although she was not satisfied with Shenzhen's answer, but it was impossible to force him to say something. But this has already proved a point from one side, that is, Shenzhen really has a godhead, and he can truly become a god with just one glance. If a person like a god tier, how could he not hold a confession and want to force a confession by words and deeds? I am afraid that the entire country of water will not have this strength. Terumi Mei said, "Since you said that, I don't seem to be able to say anything anymore." Uchiha Qiye suddenly opened his eyes and almost scared Terumi Mei and Eli to death. Uchiha Kai's left eye is the eternal Mangekyo Bloodwheel eye, and the right eye is the eternal Rinnegan, so abruptly displayed, the two women who were there instantly turned pale. The man smiled lightly, "See it, it's good to see it, but please forget it, forget it." As he said forgetting, his tone gradually softened, and the two women gradually couldn't control themselves and entered a state of unconsciousness. Advertisement regarding their memory. Uchiha Qiye had no voyeuristic desire at all, but he had to see it in this situation, but he only looked at the most crucial link, that is, after learning the truth, the two of them really did top secret and not told to any outsiders. That would be much more convenient, as long as they cut out the useless memory that they saw about the cosmic wave Kai's body structure, it wouldn't affect others at all. After a simple cut, Uchiha Qiye returned to his usual appearance, and the two women gradually woke up. After waking up, Terumi Mei and Ellie suddenly felt a flash in front of their eyes, and their brains felt a little dizzy, but they recovered completely within a few seconds. Master God of War. Leaving Avery alone, watching the battle of gods in confusion, he remembered. They didn't know why they came to Shenzhen's lounge and felt that there was a period of Qianli Jiao, blank memory. The two of them looked at each other in a daze, and as soon as they turned their eyes, they saw a curious face of God's battle. I always feel that I have forgotten something, but it is impossible to remember what I have forgotten. In short, there will be some sense of loss. After she finished speaking, she was completely stunned, so she said hello and walked out. Shenzhen said, "Oh, are you here to heal my body and restore chakra or?" Terumi Mei faltered, and although she couldn't remember what was going on, she still said, "Yes, Ellie, please try to help God War Sama." God War? Chapter 328 The self-esteem of the old generation of emperors is shattered. Chapter 328 The self-esteem of the old generation of emperors is shattered. I am an advanced medical ninja, and I came here to help the gods. Just as he was about to speak, Shenzhen turned his head and said, "Okay, I need to be quiet, you go out." 39. Hearing that he didn't need his own treatment at all, Ellie didn't insist, and walked out angrily. Now, Uchiha Qiye is the only one left. The corner of his mouth evoked a man's intriguing arc, and now all the memories of everyone who knew his core secret were finally cleared. So he slowly closed his eyes, and the quiet 857 regained his chakra, and a vast breath of heaven and earth was frantically pouring into his body. The mountains, rivers, the earth, the sun, the moon, the sea, the chakra contained in it is poured into Uchiha Kai's body as if he doesn't want money. Sitting for a long time, Uchiha Qiye naturally entered the state of meditation, and naturally turned on the sage mode. Terumi Mei, who was in the secret surveillance room, observed Uchiha Kai's every move, and was surprised to see that he had entered some kind of strange state, and sighed in his heart, "This is indeed a strange person, BECJ." Ellie, who was staying with Terumi Mei, kept frowning and asked in a confused way, "Mizukage-sama, why'd I always feel like I forgot something but can't remember it?" Terumi Mei suddenly looked back at Ellie. Not only her, even Terumi Mei herself had the exact same feeling. "Yes, I felt the same way just now. Is there really something strange happening?" Advertisement because Terumi Mei also felt that she had forgotten something. So the two shook their heads together. Maybe it was a hallucination, but they couldn't think about it at all. Terumi Mei asked, "Avery, as a high-level ninja, you should know how Momochi's injuries are, and how is Boro?" Since Momochi Zabuzawa was still in a coma, and Boro was awake, Terumi Mei wanted to take a look. After finishing speaking, Terumi Mei closed her eyes, which is a good fortune in misfortune. Although the Battle of Gods injured all the two very important people, they were obviously merciful, so Terumi Mei did not blame God. War. Ellie continued, "Bolo suffered internal injuries, because the extremely hot Samadhi True Fire and the extremely cold Ice Shield have damaged his 7 chakra veins. Although they can be recovered, it will take at least a year and a half, and his life will also be destroyed. No need to worry at all." So Terumi Mei said, "Take me to see Boro." The two walked for a long time, and finally came to the medical center, the intensive care unit. Hearing this, Terumi Mei was relieved. After all, after suffering such a serious injury, not only did he not die, but he was able to recover gradually, which was also a good thing. Terumi Mei saw Bolo outside the window. Although he opened his eyes awake, his lips were white, and the emotion on his face seemed to make him 10 years older at once. In fact, Terumi Mei knew in his heart that although the Battle of Gods left Boluo's life, the blow to his self-esteem was indeed devastating. Avery frowned, looking a little worried, but still said, Taudi's limbs are all broken, but with the full help of our Jonin medical team, they have been saved and taken back, but the recovery cycle will take place very long. Chapter 329 You should worship God as your teacher. Chapter 329 You should worship God as your teacher. The bright and upright Boluo, who was loved and respected by all people, was completely defeated in front of the public. For this alone, Boluo fell from the clouds to the bottom of the valley. For a person who enjoyed the respect of the world, the blow was simply fatal. The medical staff Jonin completely stabilized Boluo's injury, and helped him to force out the retrograde movement of Fire Style and Ice Shield in his body. Although he suffered internal injuries, he can recover as long as he recovers slowly. After the medical ninja saw Mizukage Terumi Mei coming, she pushed it out completely under her eyes. At this time, Terumi Mei opened the door and walked in quietly. Boluo, who was lying inside, suddenly felt the quiet atmosphere, turned his head and glanced at Terumi Mei, and knew that she was here. Everyone praised the Emperor as a god. Now that he has landed in this field, it is the time when he needs people's comfort. Terumi Mei came to his hospital bed, held Boluo's calloused hand distressedly and said, Master, you have worked so hard for you, your contribution to the land of water is huge. Boluo smiled bleakly, shook his head and said, This is not a contribution at all, I haven't even figured out the details of the Battle of Gods, and I haven't even forced him to the highest level, this time it can only be regarded as me failed. Advertisement When talking about this, Boluo suddenly remembered and said, However, I don't think the Battle of the Gods is malicious to our country of water, although I still don't know the purpose of his coming to the country of water, but if possible, I suggest, you take him as your teacher. Terumi Mei's eyes widened in surprise. He didn't understand why Boluo said that. Logically speaking, only Boluo was her teacher. Boluo continued, I can only teach you how to bring out your own lava style as a weapon in your battle, but God War can indeed teach you how to maximize the power of lava style. Hearing what Boluo said, Terumi Mei couldn't help but recall, how did Shenzan use lava style to defeat earth style, the strongest defense, and the most powerful wall of size in the entire ninja world was actually destroyed by lava style. It exploded, it was like a fantasy. Asterisk asterisk. However, Shenzan did it with lava style, and it is the most ultimate lava style. Terumi Mei is proud of lava style, but now that she has seen the highest level of lava style, she is also shocked, and she also wants to learn. So Terumi Mei lowered her eyes secretly and said, However, how should I speak? How could the Battle of Gods possibly teach me? 39. Boluo's eyes darkened and said, Shenzan is actually a soft-hearted person, he could easily kill me, but he didn't do it. As a Mizukage for so many years, I believe that your diplomacy will definitely help you. Find a way to let Shenzan be your master. As soon as Terumi Mei heard it, Boluo, as her enlightenment teacher, had highly praised the god of war, and she didn't want to be embarrassed anymore, so she just watched the third game. The strongest ultimate weapon has been defeated, so Terumi Mei will also put down Mizukage's figure and bow down. This kind of god tier simply needs to be raised and raised. What is it to kneel and worship? Let her offer incense every day and worship it. Earth. Chapter 330 Who is the sudden strong murderous aura? Chapter 330 Who is the sudden strong murderous aura? As long as Shenzan is willing to protect the land of water, as long as he is willing to teach Terumi Mei the ultimate lava style, he is willing to pay any price. After making up his mind, Terumi Mei's eyes flashed with determination, so he said, Okay teacher, I'm going to watch the third game, and the future is left to me. The two chatted with each other for a while before Terumi Mei walked out of the infirmary. She knew that the next battle would be the ultimate battle in the entire country of water. Terumi Mei walked out of the intensive care unit, and it was still crowded with people. She even suspected that all the people of the land of water had come here to watch the battle, and they were all discussing the Battle of Gods. All the people who opened and closed their conversations were Shenzan, and according to the ninjas interspersed in the audience, Shenzan had already been a myth, and all the people in the land of water were carrying Shenzan. Terumi Mei is a shinobi with a high IQ, she knows how to maintain stability and how to guide the emotions of the masses. If Shenzan can become a person in the country of water, or if it is closely related to the country of water, then she must be willing to let people support Shenzan, but what if he is completely dismissive? No matter, let's look at the final game first. If the Battle of Gods is won, then Terumi Mei will forcibly keep the Battle of Gods at all costs, and even if he can't keep it, he must be bound to him. But if the Battle of the Gods is lost, then Terumi Mei will make a steady profit. Anyway, the Battle of the Gods is already so famous, and the ultimate weapon of the Kingdom of Water can still defeat the Battle of Gods. The national power of the country. Advertisement in this case, Terumi Mei is the winner anyway, as long as the game starts, she is sure to win. Terumi Mei glanced at the clock, the time was getting closer and closer, it was noon now, and in 10 minutes, the final match could be seen. At this time, the Battle of Gods can actually hear the noise of tens of thousands of people outside from the lounge, and almost everyone is looking forward to the final battle. The Battle of God is also pondering in his heart. The 7 ninja swordsmen have already represented the high-end strength of the country of water, and Boluo's strength is also very strong, which can be regarded as the top strength of the country of water. If there are still people who can surpass these two people above, then he has no way of knowing who it will be. It is true that Shenzan clearly knows that Terumi Mei should be equal to Boluo, or even slightly higher than Boluo. This was only observed when Shenzan cleared Terumi Mei's memory. Although it is slightly stronger than Boluo, it should not be. be the ultimate weapon. After all, Terumi Mei is Mizukage, representing the image of the country of water. In case of defeat, the country of water will be disgraced, so Terumi Mei will definitely not participate. Shen Zan glanced out from the lounge, and sure enough Terumi Mei was sitting on the summit stage with a dignified appearance, which also confirmed Shen Zan's conjecture that Terumi Mei would not participate in the competition. Then 2.9 If this is the case, who will be fighting against God? After thinking about it, he can't think of it at all. At this moment, a person suddenly stood in front of Uchiha Qiye, and a strong murderous aura instantly approached Uchiha Qiye. He came back to his senses immediately, and looked at the man in front of him vigilantly. This kind of murderous aura. Chapter 331 The State of Water's top combat power comes on. Chapter 331 The State of Water's top combat power comes on. Uchiha Qiye hadn't felt it for a long time, like being squeezed by the throat with invisible force. And just now, he just relaxed his body and mind a little, and he didn't even know how the man in front of him came to him. If at this moment, this dangerous man gave him a fatal blow, he might have caused extremely serious injury to him. How could it not be scary? How could it not be scary? U14 Zibo Qiye glanced nervously. The man's eyes were extremely indifferent, full of murderous aura, as if everything in front of him were just a bunch of pigs, dogs, cattle and sheep, or creatures that were completely inferior to him. Uchiha Qiye calmed down instantly, looked at the man in front of him and asked, "It seems that the last man who will fight with me should be you." At this moment, the man still had an indifferent expression. His eyes then took a serious look at Uchiha Qiye. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he said as if cherishing words like gold, "Yes, I advise you to leave." Uchiha Qiye looked at him strangely and asked, "Why?" At this time, Uchiha Qiye looked more serious. The man was wearing a brown super ninja costume and looked lean and neat. His hair was long, covered with his eyes, and his nose was high, like a knife and axe. Of perseverance. The man said, "My name is Yugo, remember me." 99 Uchiha Qiye suddenly recalled that when he first came here, there was indeed a person leading the team, and he used to challenge this Yugo. Advertisement But at that time, Yu Gao looked a little milky, but for some reason, he suddenly changed to a murderous and awe-inspiring look, making Uchiha Qiye look blind. Uchiha Qiye finally remembered it, nodded and said, "I remember it, the change is quite big. I never thought that you would be the ultimate fighting force of the land of water." As soon as Yu Gao heard this, there was a volcanic eruption force on his body, but at this moment it converged back. This kind of murderous aura, which seemed to be in essence, made the cosmic wave Qiye feel a chilling aura all his life. His pupils shrank, and he thought that Yu Gao was going to do something here, because the murderous aura could not be concealed at all. After saying this, the referee was already standing on the ring, and Uchiha Qiye and Yu Gao came out one after the other. Uchiha Qiye actually laughed, and Hanabi, who had always been bored, blinked out of the battle. "Very well, I'm looking forward to it." God battle. God battle. This scene even made Uchiha Qiye admit to him a little. What Uchiha Qiye wanted was this kind of exciting feeling, that real pain, that feeling of being able to compete with him evenly. And the next person who is about to come out is still wearing a hood as usual, but the clothes he wears are S-rank ninjas from the land of water. Uchiha Qiye stood on the stage, and countless people were cheering his name. But how do you know that Yu Gao has converged in an instant? His face is still calm and indifferent. It can be said that the surface is calm like water, and the heart is murderous. At this time, Uchiha Qiye seems to have become a god in the eyes of everyone. Chapter 332 This is a real even-handed match. Chapter 332 This is a real even-handed match that is the most advanced ninja who completely surpasses Jonin. Wow, S-rank ninja, guardian of the land of water. God, even the guardians are going to come out to fight. This is the secret weapon of the water country. I can't believe that the country of water is going to give up for this battle. It's so exciting. I thought it was impossible for me to see this kind of battle in my life. It's worth dying for me to die after watching it. The words that everyone said came out of Uchiha Kai's ears one after another, and it seemed that not only him, but even all the residents of the land of water were looking forward to seeing this level of battle. It can be seen how strong the sensation is. The man finally took off his headgear and threw away the cumbersome outfit, revealing the shape of a capable ninja. With this shape and aura, even from 100 miles away, a murderous aura filled the sky. It turned out to be the legendary Yugo. Yu Gao has long been a legendary figure in the country of water. It is said that his strength is stronger than that of water ninja. The 7 ninja swordsmen will be defeated in just a few seconds under his attack, and they call it the highest combat power of the country of water. The secret ultimate weapon is not an exaggeration at all. But no one has ever seen Yugo's battle, because all the people who have seen it are dead, except for Mizukage Terumi Mei and the 7 shinobi swordsmen. Other enemies can't even find the bones after death. Advertisement Therefore, Yugo is mysterious, cruel, powerful, and cold-blooded. The level of legend is even more shocking than that of Bola. Now, Yu Gao came out and became the last enemy to face Uchiha Qiye. Who wins and who loses, who is better, the answer will be revealed soon. The referee stepped forward, reiterated the rules and procedures of the game, and then backed off. In fact, the so-called rules are that there are no rules, and it doesn't matter if you are killed. What more rules are needed? After the referee went down, it marked the beginning of the official battle between Yugo and Uchiha Qiye. At this time, the audience has been divided into 2 groups, because there are too many fanatical fans of Yugo. Half of them shouted Yugo's name, and they shouted out of their minds, and half of them shouted the name of Shenzhen, and the 2 groups almost beat each other. Stand up. The referee didn't want to control and silence this group of spectators for a long time, because he knew that once the fight broke out, this group of people would be absolutely quiet as chickens, because the level of excitement did not make them have time to fight. Yu Gao and Uchiha Qiye were about 100 meters apart. At this time, Yu Gao slowly pulled out a famous sword from behind him. It is the most noble sword in the entire ninja world, and the name of this sword is Muramasa. Muramasa, the sword used by the legendary god of war. Only those who have conquered the soul of the god of war can win this sword from his hands. There was a black chi around Muzheng's body. This black chi was actually the condensation of death chi, because too many people had been killed, and the resentment of Qianli Zhao. These people could not be dissipated, and it condensed in Muzheng's body over time. On the body, it also seems that Muramasa is more evil and powerful. There are many runes and engraving spells scattered on the famous sword of Muramasa, all of which are drawn by the god of war with his own divine power, which can increase the user's power by more than 10 times, and Muramasa himself also has his own amazement skills. Uchiha Qiye glanced at Muramasa in surprise. He had been interested in this famous sword. Chapter 333 The Man Who Conquered the God of War Yu Gao. Chapter 333 The Man Who Conquered the God of War Yu Gao. But I didn't know where and how the god of war was summoned, so I gave up. Now that it is in Yu Gao's hands, this can only mean one thing, that is, Yu Gao's strength defeated the god of war and became a new generation of god of war. Yu Gao asked, "Can you recognize this sword?" The well-informed Uchiha Qiye certainly knew it, so he nodded and said, "I know, this is the sword of the god of war. Now that you have obtained it, it seems that your strength has been fully recognized." Yu Gao's eyes and aura were still indifferent, and his whole body exuded a murderous aura. This murderous aura gave people an illusion, as if a pair of invisible hands were strangling someone's throat, a suffocating feeling. Yu Gao glanced at Cosmic Wave Qiye indifferently, his eyes emitting a looming scarlet, as if there were some terrifying giant beast hidden in his body, which made Cosmic Wave Qiye feel a burst of fear. Such a strong murderous aura. Yu Gao said, "Since you know, I advise you to leave here quickly. Once I make a move, you will never be able to survive." He had said this to Uchiha Qiye since he was in the lounge just now, and now he said it again. But Uchiha Qiye was unmoved at all, so he wouldn't back down. He hadn't experienced this feeling of meeting an opponent, this kind of hearty fighting feeling, for a long, long time. Advertisement Shenzan said, "It is absolutely impossible, let the horse come over." At this time, the Battle of the Gods has also raised his combat power to the ultimate, and a blade of the Thunder Spirit naturally appeared in his hand, lingering with blue light, cold light, and full of murderous aura. One is the black breath that symbolizes death conquering Yu Gao, the god of war, and the other is Uchiha Qiye, the god of thunder. The two seem to be evenly matched, and a war is about to break out. Immediately afterwards, the two swordsmanships competed. Cosmic Wave Kai's swordsmanship belonged to Shira swordsmanship. With a bang, the metal-mixed sound immediately rippled, and the burst of chakra energy spread out in a visible manner to the naked eye. As expected of a man who has conquered the god of war, even Uchiha Qiye has the eye of eternity and almost failed to capture his figure. The speed was completely unexpected. A black aura swirled around the sword that Yu Gao used Muramasa, intertwined with the blue electric light. Muramasa and the blade of the Thunder Spirit collided with each other, causing an extremely violent collision. At the last moment, the Cosmic Wave Qiye immediately waved his sword to block Yu Gao's extremely fast blow. The swordsmanship used by Yu Gao belongs to the most exquisite Bushido swordsmanship of the ancient god of war generation. Although many people in the land of water can understand this swordsmanship, the mystery and the unique use of it have long since completely surpassed ordinary Bushido swordsmanship. At this moment, the referee raised his eyes and looked at the audience. As expected, BECJ. The two of them hadn't started fighting yet. This nervous and exciting feeling has made this group of noisy onlookers completely quiet. Like a chicken, even the eyes are reluctant to blink. Immediately afterwards, Yu Gao launched an attack directly, and the distance of 100 meters was almost approaching. This time, Uchiha Qiye felt a sudden cardiac arrest. Chapter 334 It turns out that the Battle of Gods will also hurt and bleed. Chapter 334 It turns out that the Battle of Gods will also hurt and bleed. The sound of bang bang is endless, and the swordsmanship of both is exquisite and dazzling, extremely wonderful. The sound of thunder rumbled in the sky. It was the god of thunder who was beating drums for Uchiha Qiye, and on the other side of the sky, like a god tier, his body exuded black death, looking down at the man who conquered him. The boy is using his own village to compete with the well-wishers of Thor. This is a battle between people, and it is an offense and defense between gods and gods. After a few minutes of confrontation, the ground beneath Qiye and Yu Gao had already collapsed, and the two gods were constantly transmitting their own powers to help their blessed ones fight. In the end, the two of them fought scorchingly. The eternal blood eye power in Uchiha Kai's body unexpectedly resolved unconsciously, and instantly penetrated all the truth of Yu Gao, and the violent chakra trend was suddenly seen clearly by him. And this scene was completely locked in Yu Gao's eyes. Because Uchiha Qiye used Mangekyo's bloodwheel eyes to see Yu Gao clearly, every move was attacking Yu Gao's death point, and the momentum of blade of the Thunder Spirit in his hand suddenly soared, while Yu Gao kept growing. Defeat. Uchiha Kai's fierce Shira swordsmanship directly pierced Yu Gao's body and clothes, and several holes were pierced. And Yu Gao suddenly awakened the power in his body at the last moment. A terrifying aura of fierce god broke out, his eyes flashed bloodthirsty light, the village in his hand flashed bloodthirsty red, and suddenly his speed and strength increased. more than 10 times. In this astonishing explosive force, Yugo turned his defense into an attack, and used the highest and most profound Bushido swordsmanship to counterattack Uchiha Qiye. Advertisement in the end, both of them gave up their defense and slashed at each other with the strongest force. Lightning style, Thor is alive, awakening village is killing. Both of them have used the strongest and most profound swordsmanship, and they want to use this to decide the outcome of each other's swordsmanship, because they are both competing for the final result. Above the sky, the god of thunder and the god of war have used their full strength to bless each other's warriors. The two slashed at each other with lightning and thunder. Looking at the scene again, there was a piece of flying sand and rocks. The two of them retreated several hundred meters each due to the huge impact force. First of all, the figures of the two gods in the sky gradually became indifferent until they disappeared completely, and the sky returned to a clear state. When the dust mist gradually dissipated, the village in Yu Gao's hands was being broken, and the runes on it were dimmed, and finally turned into pieces of waste, completely falling to the ground. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot seeking flowers katakana middle dot. In this battle, the two of them were evenly tied, and the most surprising thing was that Uchiha Qiye was actually injured. Boom! With a bang, the two peerless weapons finally came to a final battle. Uchiha Qiye was cut in pieces, 5 bloodstains were dripping down, and Yugo's abdomen and chest were all pierced by the cosmic wave Kai's sword, and the blood was flowing down like no money. Blood. With a clatter, the blade of the thunder spirit in Uchiha Kai's hand was completely shattered in the violent collision, falling to the ground piece by piece. Chapter 335 The Crazy Fight of Six Tails Jinchuriki. Chapter 335 The Crazy Fight of Six Tails Jinchuriki. In countless battles, Uchiha Qiye was sometimes beaten, sometimes evenly matched, but he was never unscathed. It was only in this most ultimate battle that the injured Uchiha Qiye was finally seen, which was simply too shocking. Uchiha Qiye touched the wound on his body with his hand, and the blood flowed, 857, quietly on his hand. After a brief period of confusion, his eyes showed an excited figure. As if he had discovered a new continent, he happily said, "This real pain, this exciting wound, I admit your strength, Yugo." And Yu Gao has almost never missed a hand since he was a child, and it is rare that he is evenly matched with him. This time, he has encountered an enemy that he admires. But there is a secret that has been planted in Yugo's heart. During the fight, Uchiha Qiye subconsciously used the eternal Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eye, and Yugo caught a momentary shadow and knew this person's secret. Could it be that this battle of gods is a person from the country of fire? Did you come here to test the highest battle of the country of water? The people of the Cosmic Wave family have hidden themselves so deeply. No matter what the reason is, Yu Gao must defeat him. Only by defeating him can he see the truth. Up to now, Yugo has not been able to force Uchiha Qiye to use the Bloodwheel Eye completely. This can only show that the level of fighting is not enough, the fighting strength is not enough, and he has not been able to really let the enemy in front of him show the last trick. If this is the case, then continue to fight and use all of your strength to force him. Thinking of this, Yu Gao's eyes became even crazier. Advertisement. Yu Gao said, "Shenzan, I know what is hidden in your body, I will definitely let you show your true colors in front of everyone." Hearing this, Uchiha Qiye couldn't help but shudder. Could it be that the Bloodwheel Eye he just used was discovered by the other party? That Yu Gao is really strong, however, so what, as long as you can defeat Yugo Uchiha Qiye at all costs. Even if you show your true self in front of everyone, so what? The imprint of the 6-star link is the representative of 6 Tails Jinchuriki. Although Uchiha Qiye once easily killed the tailed beasts of the land, when it comes to 6 tails, it is impossible to easily defeat 2.9, and he must go all out. And there is a 6-star link looming in the chest. Yu Gao's aura soared, and he tore off his clothes at once, revealing his tight chest. The blood hole pierced by Uchiha Qiye was bleeding non-stop, but in an instant, a magical force turned him all wounds healed. Shienju, S-rank Big Jade Top Pill. The well-informed Uchiha Kai's pupils shrank instantly, and he was shocked. He finally knew that this Yugo was Jinchuriki. A bone spur sprang out of Yu Gao's hand, and the texture of the bone spur looked extremely hard, as if it was a part of something. The spinning top ball in Uchiha Kai's hand flashed with great power, and quickly smashed it in the direction of Yugo. When the time comes, let everyone know him. Although Uchiha Qiye doesn't know the truth yet, he's ready for it. Chapter 336 Bloodthirsty Thoughts Make Yu Gao Crazy. Chapter 336 Bloodthirsty Thoughts Make Yu Gao Crazy. Even a 4-tailed beast can't resist this S-level magic. Both Terumi Mei and the audience showed a surprised expression when he used the Shienju top ball. No one could have imagined that the Grandmaster had so many ninjutsu skills. Toromaru was originally the ninjutsu of Naruto's father, Grandmaster. As a mysterious man, the god of war can not only use Shienjutsu, but also use Deu Toromaru in Shienjutsu. His mysterious identity is even more mysterious. A huge spinning top pill, wrapped in unparalleled power, rushed directly to Yu Gao, but Yu Gao didn't flicker much, and his eyes no longer concealed the bloodthirsty light, and his murderous aura was everywhere. And the barb in his hand has completely turned red at this time, which is extremely terrifying. He rushed directly towards the big jade gyro pill. Is he crazy? Is he looking for death? Why not hide? What is Yugo going to do? Is he overestimating himself? Advertisement. Everyone was amazed. No one could imagine why Yu Gao would be so desperate. But the next second surprised them even more. The red barb in Yu Gao's hand swiped directly at the big jade top pill. Bang! The big jade top ball spinning in the air shattered completely, transforming into an unstable cyclone that ravaged chakra in the air. But Yu Gao completely ignored these. His body was gradually turning red, his eyes flashed with animal killing, and his humanity was gradually disappearing. Uchiha Qiye knew that this Yugo was gradually turning into a tailed beast, and only with the power of a tailed beast could fight him. Uchiha Qiye was in no hurry, and suddenly an extremely radiant diamond-shaped sphere appeared in his hand. Lava style, the fire of the moon shines together, years. This move was a powerful move that directly destroyed the wall of size. Even Yu Gao, who had collided with him, narrowed his eyes slightly, as if he also felt how powerful this move was. Uchiha Qiye said, "Don't you like to go head-to-head? Let me see if you dare to continue." 99. Advertisement. Yu Gao, who was moving at extreme speed, only stayed for a moment but suddenly sprinted. Yu Gao's figure gradually turned red, and his murderous aura became stronger and stronger until he was about to come into contact with Moonfire Tongli's lava style. The whole person became a red blood shadow. Water style, forged in blood. Yu Gao immediately spewed red chakra from his mouth, and the blood-red chakra immediately enveloped lava style, only to see lava style distorted and deformed immediately under the pressure of blood melding, and blood melding was like a vessel, entangled with lava style. In the end, the two forces did not give in to each other, and an extremely powerful destructive force erupted. 857 Boom. Lava style actually exploded together with the blood melding cast, becoming a chakra airflow that distorted the air, rushing wildly. And Yu Gao had already come to Uchiha Qiye at this moment. The former roared, "That animal roar is definitely not a human can make." This monstrous murderous aura swept all the creatures in front of him. Uchiha Qiye is extremely calm. He feels that the six tails in Yu Gao may have gradually lost control, and he is in a state of madness. Uchiha Qiye seals the seal in seconds, frozen for thousands of miles. 99. The ice wall immediately froze the venue for thousands of miles. Except for the auditorium, all the competition venues were completely frozen in ice. Chapter 337 Shoot Down. The bloodthirsty Yugo who was deceived by the battle of gods. Chapter 337 Shoot Down. The bloodthirsty Yugo who was deceived by the battle of gods. And Yu Gao, who was in a manic state, seemed to be on fire with the crimson-red body burning this murderous flame. Because he was forcibly frozen by Uchiha Kai's ice shield, Yugo couldn't move at all. Uchiha Qiye said, "Be rational and control the power in your body." 5. At this moment, no one expected, because Yu Gao, who was completely frozen by the ice shield, was constantly accumulating strength and trying to completely break through the mandatory encirclement of the ice shield. Finally, with a click, a crack in the ice shield shattered. Immediately after that, the sound of clicking was incessant, and it seemed that Yu Gao, who was frozen in the ice for thousands of miles, could no longer be frozen. Yu Gao roared angrily, and the bang burst all the ice cubes directly, turning into water vapor in the frenzied murderous aura. Originally, the country of water was very foggy, but this time it was suddenly evaporated by the fanatical Yugo into a foggy scene, which was spectacular through the sunlight. This scene, even in the eyes of Uchiha Qiye, felt that it was too exaggerated. After breaking free, Yugo punched Uchiha Qiye in the face because he was very close to Uchiha Qiye. I saw that the latter flew out like a kickball, but Yu Gao was not satisfied at all. He chased after him at a faster speed, attacking in the air without dead ends. Uchiha Qiye, who was unable to fight back at this time. The thumping sound is incessant. The audience was completely stunned. They had never seen the scene of beating God Zan before. It turns out that God Zan will also bleed and be beaten. Advertisement. Terumi Mei, who was sitting on the summit platform, smiled proudly. Their cutting-edge combat power in the land of water, the secret weapon, Six Tails Jinchuriki, was indeed the best in the world. As long as the entire battle of gods is defeated, then the country of water will surely become famous, and even the limelight will definitely overshadow the country of fire. Just when everyone was fascinated, Uchiha Qiye stood below and said lightly, "Okay, don't waste your time there." 39. As soon as these words came out, Yu Gao, who was battling the battle of gods in the sky, smashed the battle of gods in front of him with a punch, but who knew that it was actually a stake. He has no idea what Uchiha Qiye is the wood style stand in for. In the air, because of the huge inertia and short-term response, the lightning style Chidori in the hands of the cosmic wave Qiye was already ready. Lightning style, Chidori. A huge group of thunder and lightning is running at an extremely high speed. Because of the friction with the air, it shows the sound of thousands of birds chirping, and the terrifying energy contained in it can be imagined. All of a sudden, it smashed directly towards Yu Gao. Before Yu Gao could react, he could only instinctively protect his vital points. Chidori smashed Yugo's body firmly, and it exploded with absolute power. I saw that all the clothes on Yugo's body were all torn apart, and it seemed like a piece of Jianli Jiao, good meat. Neither or. With a thud, Yugo fell heavily to the ground. God, who have you noticed that God War uses wood style? It turned out that it was just a piece of wood, and his strength was too terrifying. Terumi Mei, who had been complacent all the time, also lost her face at this time. The ninjutsu of the gods was so unpredictable, not to mention Yugo admitting it wrong. Even she herself didn't see Namu. The pile is actually just a clone. Chapter 338 You are the first person to force me to use the unicorn. Chapter 338 You are the first person to force me to use the unicorn. Yu Gao fell to the ground and stood up quickly. The red murderous aura pervading his body became even stronger, and within a few seconds, Yu Gao, who was originally bloody, completely recovered his body again. Such a powerful recovery ability once again shocked Uchiha Qiye. If he remembered correctly, probably only 9 Tails has such a strong recovery ability. How can even 6 Tails Jinchuriki have such ability? Yu Gao gradually stood up, the red murderous arrogance in his eyes increased even more. The cosmic wave Qiye was almost certain that the murderous aura in his eyes no longer belonged to human beings at all, but beast killing and the devil's attack on blood, of desire. Yu Gao's sanity was slowly being eroded, as if only one breakthrough was needed to instantly detonate the power in his body. Uchiha Qiye thought to himself, Terumi Mei is really willing to spend all the money and move out all the heavy equipment of his own family. It can be said that he can do everything. Uchiha Qiye is trying to force out all of Yugo's 6 Tails power, because if he doesn't transform into 6 Tails, it can only mean that he has not yet reached his peak physical strength. BECJ, S-Class Big Jade Gyro Ball. The Big Jade top ball in Uchiha Kai's hand is running at high speed, but this time it is different from just now. Advertisement. The audience was dazzled. If it was an ordinary ninja, or even a Jonin, it would be exhausting to shoot a spinning top, but Shenzan could keep firing spinning tops, which is simply an incredible thing. The top pills shone with pure yellow brilliance and kept rushing towards Yu Gao, one after another, and Yu Gao was still watching all this condensely, not dodging at all. The thorns in his hand don't know what it is, but they are extremely sharp. Every time a big jade ball is hit, Yu Gao will directly attack it with the guy in his hand. If it is outrageous enough to say that Shenzan can continuously fire 10 big jade gyro balls in 1 second, then Yu Gao can use the weapon in his hand to continuously explode without being injured at all, which is simply outrageous. Bang! Bang! Each top ball was completely blown up by the spikes in Yu Gao's hands, as if it didn't take a single bit of effort. Cosmic Wave Qiye understood. Although he had never seen the form of 6 Tails, he knew that 6 Tails was a creature similar to a unicorn. It turned out that the weapon in Yugo's hand was the hardest barb on the unicorn. The luster of ice and fire shone in lava style, like the most dazzling gem, surrounded by green dragonwood style. The Cosmic Wave Qiye never likes to run away. The strongest lava style in his hand has been boiling without knowing it, and he rushed directly towards Yu Gao's attack. Even the well-informed Uchiha Qiye was very shocked, and his attention was already on this strange thing. Yu Gao rushed over directly, without any bells and whistles, but a strong blood energy permeated his body, and that overwhelming murderous aura made even Uchiha Qiye, who already possessed the divine personality, feel a strong pressure. As Yu Gao walked forward, he said coldly and arrogantly, "Why, do you feel strange? The weapon in my hand is called a unicorn, and it is invincible. You are the first person to force me to use a unicorn." Chapter 339 Explosion. 6 Tails Jinchuriki really comes into the world. Chapter 339 Explosion. 6 Tails Jinchuriki really comes into the world. With such a powerful attack ninjutsu, who is the real invincible against Yugo's Kirin? Everyone was watching with bated breath. The two men fought head to head, arousing the nerves of the audience and making them all quiet down to watch the final battle. Both of them used their strongest attacking moves, and no one was in the midst of testing this move, but completely burned. The collision between Lava Style and Kirin is imminent. Boom! A piece of flying sand and rocks, the earth vibrated in 6 ways, and the whole picture burst out with a fiery white light shining in everyone's eyes. In this scene, the audience at the scene could not watch the battle with the naked eye at all. It seemed like a knee-jerk reflex, and they looked at the water screen above. This is a huge screen placed by Terumi Mei with water style, which can block out the dust and chaos. Airflow, see the truth directly. This roar lasted for a full minute, and I saw that Uchiha Kai's lava style completely exploded, and Yu Gao's proud unicorn melted into slag under lava style's attack. Lava style and Kirin vanished together. The power of the two can be seen in Madara. And in Yu Wei, both of them were injured. Uchiha Qiye was stabbed in the abdomen under the attack of Qilin, and Yu Gao was covered in lava style's explosion, all scalded again. Obviously, in this wave of mutual attacks, the Cosmic Wave Qiye still had the upper hand. Although he stabbed his abdomen, it did not hurt the vital point. The blood was kept like tap water without money. Advertisement. Looking at Yu Gao again, the appearance of lying on the ground was extremely miserable. At this moment, the injury that had just recovered turned into a cripple again, and the pits on his body seemed to be completely scorched by the extremely hot flames. On the legs and arms, the severely injured parts have exposed the gloomy bones, and if there is no miracle, it is impossible to cure. Uchiha Qiye has a green light in his hands. This is medical ninjutsu. He is treating his wounds on the spot. Although it seems that the wound on his abdomen is deep and large, he is being treated by medical ninjutsu at a speed visible to the naked eye, recovering. On the other hand, Yu Gao, who was lying on the ground screaming extremely miserably, couldn't even get up. Katakana middle dot katakana middle dot katakana middle dot. But everyone also noticed that the extremely strong murderous aura on Yu Gao's body was rapidly erupting, and the animalistic scarlet in his eyes no longer concealed the monsters in his body. But after a while, Uchiha Kai's injury was finally healed, but Yu Gao has undergone earth-shaking changes. Because it can no longer be repaired from the broken body in an instant, the animal nature finally fully exerted, because there is no other way. A roar. This roar seemed to come from hell. Just this sound wave blasted through the entire ground, looking torn apart. Even the audience thousands of miles away from the scene had to cover their ears, as if an extremely terrifying beast was about to descend on the world. The restored Uchiha Qiye looked at everything in front of him calmly and muttered to himself, finally waiting for this moment, let me see with my own eyes what Six Tails is like. Finally, Yu Gao, who had completed the transformation, stood in front of everyone in the form of an extremely terrifying monster. Chapter 340 How Powerful is Amaterasu of Eternal Eye? Chapter 340 How Powerful is Amaterasu of Eternal Eye? It was a unicorn wearing a battle armor, with a terrifying and bizarre appearance, with scarlet flames spitting from its mouth and nose, and its eyes full of murderous and tyrannical arrogance. Legend has it that the dragon gave birth to 9 sons, and the 9 sons are different. One of the sons is a unicorn. He is naturally slaughtered and has infinite power. The unicorn stands in front of Uchiha Qiye like this. Wookie is ashamed to be one of the sons of the dragon. The audience took a deep breath when they saw this scene, and it took a while to clearly understand the situation in front of them. God, look, isn't this a unicorn? This old man is a rare sight in his life. It can be considered that he has seen the ultimate killer of the country of water. It is really powerful. This is the capital that the country of water can compete with the major countries and even keep pace with the country of fire. It is simply invincible. Although I haven't seen the 9 Tails Fox and Kirin fight in the land of fire, but I think the power may be similar. 9. Uchiha Qiye not only did not feel afraid after seeing the unicorn, but felt eager to try it. Because the ultimate weapon hidden in Uchiha Kai's body is completely designed for these tailed beasts, there is no need to confront them. The unicorn's killing intent exploded, and it rushed directly towards the cosmic wave Qiye. The huge body was like a big mountain, and it rushed over with a rumble, blocked the unicorn. When it was close to Uchiha Qiye, it suddenly erupted, and the violent roars could cause the power to shake the ground in the mountains. The red murderous aura was condensed in its mouth, accumulating extremely terrifying power. This is the nirvana of all tailed beasts, Taiyu? Advertisement, it's too strong, you see that space is torn apart, 95. I doubt that it will be able to hammer a hole in the earth all at once. The condensed tailed beast bomb in the Kilin's mouth whirled, and with a bang, an extremely large spherical tailed beast bomb slammed directly towards Uchiha Qiye. Eternal Mangekyo Blood Wheel Eye, Amaterasu. Uchiha Qiye finally used his housekeeping stunt at this critical moment, Amaterasu. The tailed beast bomb actually shattered in midair, strong air currents were flowing around, and the unicorn's eyes were completely lost in the hallucination the moment they looked at the eyes of Uchiha Qiye's Eternal Mangekyo Blood Wheel. Amaterasu can make all those who look at him and the tailed beast enter the illusion, and a black flame that falls from the sky instantly hits the unicorn. The unicorn twisted his body in pain and looked extremely uncomfortable. The black flame could burn everything in contact with it, and the energy was completely different from the true Samadhi fire. The black flame of Amaterasu is the destructive power from the heaven, while the true fire of Samadhi originates from the 5 elements but is beyond the 5 elements. The black flame burned more and more vigorously, and the entire body of the unicorn burned. The black flame had no temperature, but it could make the victim feel the hottest burning. At the end of 2.9, the entire giant unicorn was completely reduced to ashes in Uchiha Kai's Amaterasu attack. And because Uchiha Qiye forcibly destroyed a tailed beast, blood flowed out of his eyes, but because it is the Eternal Mangekyo Blood Wheel Eye, it does not damage the pupil power. On the ground, there was a naked man, Yu Gao, although Yu Gao's body had recovered as before. Chapter 341 Dalton's Yumu's Dust Escape Lousy will also. Chapter 341 Dalton's Yumu's Dust Escape Lousy will also. But he personally felt that his unicorn was directly burned by Amaterasu by Shenzhen, and the despair in his heart made his connection meaningless. In the end, Yu Gao slowly stood up, pointed at Uchiha Qiye and said, Shenzhen, you are actually sent by the Fire Nation, only the Uchiha family can have blood-round eyes, what is your heart? After Yu Gao's reminder, tens of thousands of spectators suddenly woke up. That's right 14. Blood Wheel Eye is the boundary of blood sacrifice. Only people from the Cosmic Wave family can have this kind of pupil technique. Is it all a conspiracy of the Fire Nation? Terumi Mei also realized at this moment, she was extremely painful, and just realized that she was caught in a huge conspiracy. The final artifact of the water country, the unicorn, has been completely annihilated, and there is no weapon that can fight against the fire country. From now on, the diplomacy with the fire country will fall into a disadvantage. And this God War, who has been pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger, turned out to be a member of the Uchiha family sent by the country of fire. Terumi Mei suddenly understood the various reasons, and was extremely annoyed in her heart, and she suddenly wanted to kill the Battle of Gods. Who knew that Shenzhen raised his hand at this time and said, I am not from the country of fire, I have no position, and the so-called blood sacrifice boundary in your ninja world is just a joke, 39. Having said this, Uchiha Qiye finally knows how to justify it, because after all, he has shown on the spot whether it is ice shield or lava style, he can learn it on the spot. Uchiha Qiye continued, the various unique ninjutsu you are proud of, as well as the ninjutsu that requires the inheritance of blood, I can learn it in just a few seconds, and I will show you the lava style on the spot. That's it, then why can't I learn the famous Blood Wheel Eye for a long time? 5. When he said this, there was a lot of discussion, and the indignant crowd suddenly became quiet. This battle of gods seemed to make sense. So Uchiha Qiye felt that the time to pretend was coming, and he had to do it well. He continued, for example, Shendun, do you think that Tsuchikage in the land of the earth can only practice Shendun? I tell you, I will. Am I a descendant of Tsuchikage? When Uchiha Qiye said this, everyone looked at this man in astonishment. Is there really nothing he can't do? The cosmic wave Qiye has actually studied the dust for a long time. As he said, the chakra power of the earth in his hand is rapidly condensing, and the dust is the essence of the earth. When the heat is grasped to the pervert's 857 steps, it is naturally a dust escape. As he said that, the dust escape naturally condensed in his hands, and he was more skilled than Uchiha of the land of earth who had always held a square-shaped dust escape in his hands. The cosmic wave Qiye used only one hand to form a dust escape, and in his hand he switched between circles, squares, and triangles at will. Onogi, who was also watching the live broadcast, was stunned. He thought that he was the only one in this world who would be the only one who could get away with dust. He didn't expect that a man who was more comfortable than him suddenly appeared, and he was instantly stunned. I just doubted the ignorance of life. Chapter 342 Rinnegan's Resurrection, Resurrection 6 Tales. Chapter 342 Rinnegan's Resurrection, Resurrection 6 Tales. With the performance of the cosmic wave Qiye, the audience at the scene was speechless in an instant. Who is human in this battle of gods? Uchiha Qiye saw that he was almost pretending, and needed a more convincing thing to frantically harvest pretending points. He said, "Don't regret the loss of the unicorn. This six-tails mythical beast is the most important weapon of your water country. I will help you resurrect it." Everyone exclaimed, "What? If you kill six tails and you can be resurrected, this is too much to pretend to be." Terumi Mei couldn't believe it at all. How could it be possible? People can't be resurrected from the dead, and there is no reason for tailed beasts to be resurrected at all. Everyone couldn't believe it at all. When Yu Gao, who was standing on the stage, heard these words, there was hope in his eyes. If there is really any power to resurrect the unicorn he has been accompanying, of course, it will completely make up for the shortcomings in his heart. The next scene, almost people all over the world went crazy. Uchiha Qiye immediately opened up his eternal Rinnegan, with both hands knotted, paying 6 paths. Rinnegan is a pupil technique that is more unusual than Bloodwheel Eye, which does not belong to the power possessed by any country at all, but the power of divine enlightenment. In the scene, Uchiha Qiye released Pen's 6 paths, and the gates of enchantment opened one after another, extremely solemn. They are heaven, Ashura, human, animal, Keto, and hell. The 6 tails who had just been killed are reincarnated in the animal realm again. Even Kamui Dali is only a creature in the animal realm. Advertisement finally, in a burst of Falun, Uchiha Qiye successfully resurrected the 6 tails he had just killed. With a bang, the 6 paths all closed, and the resurrection of the Pain 6 paths completed the ritual. Cosmic Wave Qiye said, "Now you should believe it, I don't belong to any country, and I don't have any position. The 6 tails you lost, I also helped you make up for the loss." After doing all this, Terumi Mei blinked her eyes like autumn water. Even as Mizukaji, it was hard to believe that all these things happened. Shen Zan actually possesses eternal Bloodwheel Eyes and eternal Rinnegan, so the gods actually came to the land of water, and they are still envisioning that they can bring Shen Zan under their command and make use of Shen Zan. Such a person should be dedicated to a temple, burn incense every day, and look at it for a while, so why bother? After seeing the dead 6 tails come alive again, tens of thousands of people at the scene were silent for a long time, and finally broke out into astonishing cheers. Everyone thinks that God is the true god of war, invincible and invincible, and grandmasters all ninjutsu, as well as all blood sacrifice boundaries. Not only that, but also can bring back to life, which is not more than a fairy, more than a god exists. Say nothing and worship is over. Or the scene where tens of thousands of people cheered the battle of the gods, Qian Lijiao, was more moving than seeing the gods descend with their own eyes. And Yu Gao, who was still hostile to Shenzan just now, had completely surrendered to Shenzan, and knelt down with a thud, kowtowing like pounding garlic. You must know that in this battle, the country of water originally wanted to show off the strength of its own country, so water screens have been set up in many places, which is equivalent to that all people in the ninja world are watching such a magical broadcast. That's more than an exponential increase in the number of pretending points. Chapter 343. Chapter 343. Ding. Pretend to increase by 100,000 points. Ding. Pretend point increased by 80,000 points. Ding. The pretense point is increased by 70,000 points. Uchiha Kai's heart was full of joy, and since then, his Ina Shiame might have gathered enough pretense to study that night. With such a strong ninjutsu, Uchiha Qiye couldn't wait to learn it. Under the overwhelming cheers of the crowd, it was like a human carnival, and the cosmic wave Qiye walked down. And Terumi Mei, who saw this scene, has already made up her mind. What is she planning to make 857 for her subordinates? Just go over and kneel, and it will be over. As long as God bless the country of water after the battle, the weather will definitely be smooth and the country will be strong. Do not mess with such a god tier awe. It is now sunset, but thousands of people are carnival, and the topic of war of gods is still being discussed, and the fishing reels are constantly exploding. Uchiha Qiye, who returned to the lounge, felt that his performance was too explosive and too eye-catching, but there was no way, because to get so many pretending points, it was too slow to do it bit by bit. This way of pretending to be a big force can be obtained explosively. At this time, Terumi Mei finally came, and no longer held the air of Mizukaji, the country of water. In the face of such a great immortal, there are no borders at all, only heaven, earth and the universe. Advertisement. Terumi Mei's attitude became very friendly after coming in. "Mr. Shenzhen, can you invite me for a dinner party in my palace?" Uchiha Qiye thinks that the pretense point has been completely cleaned up, and it seems unnecessary, but on second thought, it is necessary to clear people's memory at night, so it is not bad to play before that. So he glanced at Terumi Mei, nodded and said, "That's exactly what I mean, just right." The battle of gods is a sign that everything is possible, and this possibility comes to everyone, liberating everyone's mental burden. Then he closed the door and completely disappeared from Uchiha Qiye's sight. Terumi Mei agreed, so she immediately became unrestrained. Thank you, master. The absolute majority of ordinary people envy the rich and powerful second generation, and think that it is unfair that these people are born with everything, and when those ordinary people see that they can reach the same level as them without having to be born, people even more fanatical worship of God war. After finishing speaking, he trotted out all the way, and after opening the door, he looked back at the cosmic wave Qiye and said quietly, someone will come over at night to invite you. It's just through some genius methods, and this fundamentally completely solves the problem that he has blood wheel eyes and Rinnegan's denial of his identity as the land of fire, and allows people to accept the character who has no background at all. Cosmic Wave Qiye glanced at the crowd of onlookers who had already left the scene outside, spying in his heart. Fortunately he set the groundwork well, and denied step by step that the boundary of blood sacrifice is the inheritance of blood and clan blood, which can be obtained through the efforts of ordinary people. Not only that, people are actually more willing to believe that the battle of gods does not have any background at all, because it completely fits the psychology of the general public. As he spoke, his face was blushing. The originally dignified and arrogant Zhao, Becj, Mei, who was also gentle and virtuous in front of the Cosmic Wave Qiye, wrapped her fingers softly. Chapter 344 The Scheming and Killing Three Birds with One Stone. Chapter 344 The Scheming and Killing Three Birds with One Stone. At this time, Terumi Mei returned to the intensive care unit. She came to Boluo's bed and called after seeing him, Teacher, should you also see the battle between Shenzhen and Yugo? Of course, Boluo saw that. As the master of the Ichigo country of the water country, he must be very concerned about this kind of thing, especially for the mysterious guy like Shenzhen. Of course, the more you know, the more you need to know. Learn more. Boluo was lying on the hospital bed, and now he has recovered most of the time. He raised his head and said to Terumi Mei, yes, the battle of gods is simply beyond my expectations. He actually has both Bloodwheel Eye and Rinnegan. With a heaven-defying level of existence, ordinary people can look down on everything with just one glance, then this guy is really invincible. Terumi Mei was also sitting next to Bola, watching the sunset outside the window pouring in. There was no warm feeling, it seemed to be a feeling that the dust had settled, so Terumi Mei had no other thoughts on her mind, just wanted to let the war of gods stay in the land of water. So Terumi Mei said, it's really strange, such an invincible person. I don't think anyone in the entire ninja world is his opponent, so what is the purpose of the battle of the gods coming to our country of water? Is it just for Snow Lotus? Even after killing Six Tails Jinchuriki, he used Rinnegan to resurrect Six Tails alive, so that the country of water did not suffer any loss, so Terumi Mei couldn't understand it at all. Sure enough, the emperor is the emperor. No matter what you do, you can completely think about the country of water and Terumi Mei, and if you do one thing, you can kill three birds with one stone. So Terumi Mei said, so I'm also very strange, what is the purpose of this battle of gods? What kind of story is behind him? I'm afraid I can't know. After all, people who have reached this level of strength, if they don't want to reveal it, we can't find out anything at all. In fact, these ideas of his coincide with Terumi Mei, because Terumi Mei also thinks the same way. Emperor Boluo, who was lying on the hospital bed, nodded and said, anyway, since he is not a threat to our water country, then you might as well worship him as a teacher, which will not only improve your cultivation, but also be able to let the outside world know that a heaven-defying person like Shenzhen has great hypocrisy with our country of water. Most importantly, after spending time with him, he will naturally be able to get to know him better. She said, yes, I have invited him to come to my place for dinner tonight, and it's just me and him, so the occasion will be more personal. In this way, the defensiveness of the battle of the gods will be reduced. If I discuss with him softly, maybe he will agree to become my teacher. 2. In the country of water's annual martial arts competition, the winner can receive Snow Lotus as a reward. How could a god of the level like the battle of gods be born so fond of a Snow Lotus? This is really hard to understand. However, if it is said that the battle of the gods is for the purpose of plotting the kingdom of water, it is not like that at all, because the battle of the gods does not have any unfavorable direction to the kingdom of water in its actions, even if it is against the top-level ninjas of the three kingdoms of water, they are all merciful, not killing them at all. Chapter 345 Save Your Life Chapter 345 Save Your Life. At this point, Bola has no trouble at all, because Bola has always been an emperor, and the shadow ninja of the water kingdom has been cultivated from the techniques learned from Bola for 3 consecutive sessions, became an emperor. But if Terumi Mei made Shenzhen his master, then would Shenzhen become the emperor's master? Then, 857? Boluo's face might not look good. But Bola didn't care at all. He also said, don't have any psychological burden. In fact, my dream has always been to travel around the world. This world is too big. I hope I can explore anywhere. In fact, Terumi Mei has always known and understood Boluo's wishes, and of course he can understand his aspirations. So he nodded and said, okay, but you and Shenzhen are different after all. Shenzhen will be my master at most, but the emperor of our country of water will always be you. After the two explained their respective positions and discussed about the battle of gods, the night gradually thickened, and only then did Terumi Mei gradually retreat. Until now, Taudi Zabuzai has not been able to get out of the intensive care unit, so as the ninja Terumi Mei of the land of water, of course, she has to visit Taudi Zabuzai. This man has done his best for the water country, and he is suffering. Having suffered such a serious injury and endured the pain of having his limbs separated, he should take a good look no matter what. Taudi smiled embarrassedly again, because she was facing the woman she had always liked, and now she was like a defeated CK. That uncomfortable feeling was really hard for a man to accept. And in terms of strength matching, the Battle of Gods had already left him life. Terumi Mei sat beside him and said aloud, "Well, the strength of the Battle of Gods is really unbelievable. It's not that you are weak at all. In the entire ninja world, I don't think anyone can be his opponent." After coming out of here, I turned right and came to the ward where Taudi Zebujan was in. When the nurses saw that it was Terumi Mei, they all moved out of the way and let Suinen walk in by himself. With a creak, Terumi Mei walked in from the door without knocking at all, and glanced at the dejected Momoji, who was lying on the bed with a faint smile on her face. Taudi saw that his former goddess actually came to visit him, so he unconsciously wanted to step forward, but suddenly found that his limbs were completely weak, and he couldn't use any force, so he felt embarrassed for a while. At this time, Taudi Zebuzan has gradually woken up. He was lying on the bed depressed, thinking that the S-rank ninja of the Super Jonin level in the Country of Water was actually cut into 8 pieces. This feeling is more than death. It's uncomfortable, because no one can accept this on the face, and the self-esteem is completely destroyed. Although Taudi Zebushan's limbs 2.9 were all connected at the first time, retaining his entire body, it is impossible to recover in a short time. It will take at least half a year to recover as usual. If Taudi is not cut again, he has no intention to fight the Battle of God. Terumi Mei saw him like this, so she was born softly and comforted. "Don't move around, you just need to rest." Chapter 346 completely extinguish the mind of pursuing Mizukage. Chapter 346 completely extinguish the mind of pursuing Mizukage. It is considered that he is in love with him, his skills are not as good as others, and there is nothing to say. He said, "I'm not sad for my honor and disgrace, I'm afraid that Shenzhen will infringe on the Country of Water, but it seems that Shenzhen has no such plan at present, but this is strange. Then Shenzhen comes to our Country of Water. What is the purpose of the state?" 35. It's a good question to ask the Taudi Zaijan. In fact, this is what Terumi Mei has always wondered about, but she can't solve it at all, so Terumi Mei can only helplessly shrug her shoulders and say, "It's hard to say, for strength he is so strong that if he doesn't reveal it, we won't be able to force him out." During the entire battle, Taudi Zebujan, who was lying on the bed of Sick 14 and watching the live broadcast of the water screen, was completely in his eyes. The battle with Bola made Taudi no longer feel astonished. God Zan actually learned lava style without any preparation, and it is the most advanced lava style. Complete structure, more than a genius, this is the fairy-like task of the ninja world. And not only that, in the battle with Yugo, Shen Zan used the cooperation between Shui Lunyan and Rinnegan. This strength is completely different from Taudi if you don't cut it, and it is not a match for you at all. Having his limbs abolished by Shen Zan was already considered a kindness to him by Shen Zan. From this point of view, Taudi Zebujan didn't have any resentment towards this battle of gods, but he must be very depressed. Terumi Mei said, "Bolo means, let me worship God as a teacher, what do you think?" 35. Advertisement. Although Dao Di Zai Yuzan didn't think of this, I felt a little surprised when I heard it suddenly, but after thinking about it, that was all I could do. The Battle of Gods is not good for the Land of Water. If other countries take advantage of the God War's hatred of the Country of Water, it will be a disaster for the Country of Water to destroy the country. Taudi said with a sigh and said, "It seems that this is the only way, I hope Shenzhen can agree." This is the confrontation and competition between strengths. In the face of the strength that completely crushes everything in the Battle of Gods, only surrender may be the only way to survive. So Terumi Mei can be considered to have communicated with Taudi Zebujan, but Terumi Mei still said, "Of course, this is just a goal, it may not be achieved, because Shenzhen really doesn't want to be a teacher of anyone, and I just follow Mr. Buluo's advice." In fact, as far as Terumi Mei's personal mentality is concerned, she also thinks this is very tempting, because Terumi Mei has always been a skill that lava style is proud of, and seeing the ultimate lava style brought out by Shenzhen, of course she is also very I would like to know how to learn. Therefore, both public and private, Terumi Mei hopes to learn from the Battle of Gods. After the two chatted for a while, Terumi Mei comforted, "You rest here, you will be back to normal in half a year, and you will continue to work for the Land of Water." Momochi nodded without slashing, and Terumi Mei also left here. The man looked at the figure of Terumi Mei leaving, and the beautiful figure was infinitely moving, but at this moment, the pursuit of Terumi Mei had completely extinguished. Chapter 347 I am only interested in a lot of pretending points. Chapter 347 I am only interested in a lot of pretending points. In the past, he thought that he might be able to win Terumi Mei's heart with a little effort, but after such a battle, he realized that there are people outside the sky, and there are people outside the world, and he is simply not worthy of it. Taudi no longer lay on the hospital bed, looking at the bright moon outside the window, and fell into mourning. In the future, he would not dare to have an affair between a man and a woman, and he would just fight for the Country of Water. Terumi Mei who walked out from here had only one person to console, and that was Utaka, the ultimate weapon of the Land of Water. Although Yu Gao has fully recovered from his injuries and Six Tails has been resurrected, Yu Gao must not be feeling well at this time. So Terumi Mei came to his palace and looked outside from the window. Under the soft moonlight, in a mountain forest, it could be seen that Yugo was communicating with his Six Tails. With this peaceful and quiet atmosphere, Terumi Mei doesn't really want to disturb it anymore, and it's not too late to wait until tomorrow to see it again. The most important task tonight is to take down the God War, because as long as the God War is tied to the same faction as the Land of Water, it will all be worth it. At this time, the Battle of the Gods was still in his own bedroom, and the bedroom the Terumi Mei gave him was not only magnificent and full of aristocratic atmosphere, but also had a warm feeling of home. The four beauties in front of them swayed and swayed to the gods. This sensory experience was something Uchiha Qiye could never experience outside. Advertisement: if he hadn't penetrated Terumi Mei's mind, he would probably have nostalgic for the land of water. The most important thing is that he has to constantly improve his PowerPoint, and he still has a long way to go to get the strongest ninjutsu and weapons, and more than that, even if he has to upgrade these skills after getting them, that would require a lot more rigging points. At this time, a maid came in and saw Uchiha Qiye saying, "Master Shenzhen, Mizukage Terumi Mei has please." Cosmic Wave Qiye nodded. He knew what Terumi Mei wanted to discuss with him, and naturally he understood the woman's intentions. The people carrying the sedan chairs were actually Jonin, and Chakra gathered at their feet, and they came to the palace with the Cosmic Wave Qiye erratically. After entering, Uchiha Qiye was already well acquainted and walked all the way to Terumi Mei's bedroom, which surprised him a bit. Uchiha Qiye shook his head and smiled. He wanted to walk over by himself, but after thinking about it, if he didn't obey, it seemed that he would betray other people's face, so he went in. After all, in terms of wealth, the land of water run by Terumi Mei is richer. So he went out with the maid, and outside the door was a large sedan chair. This was a high etiquette in the ninja world. To be able to get this kind of treatment might not even be possible for a national war. Standing in front of the window sill, Uchiha Qiye looked at the bright moonlight and sighed involuntarily. It is not easy to reach the strongest point in this world, and there is a character like Mi Hong who is trying to destroy the entire ninja world. This is really a long way to go. This time, the palace seems to be different from the previous one, Qian Li Jiao. The buildings outside the palace are lined up with palace lanterns, and their grand appearance makes people feel warm in their hearts. The extremely delicate picture makes the cosmic waves Qiye. I feel that even the Kingdom of Fire has never shown such style. Chapter 348: The Mizukage that can only be viewed from a distance. Chapter 348: The Mizukage that can only be viewed from a distance. I thought I was meeting guests in the hall, but coming to the bedroom is Terumi Mei's private domain, so it's inappropriate to call Uchiha Qiye indirectly. So he glanced suspiciously at the attendant who had been bringing him here, confirming, "Are you sure Terumi Mei wants to see me in the palace?" 39. The attendant has always bowed his head and looked pleasing to the eye. Seeing the cosmic wave Qiye asked, he immediately nodded and said, "Yes, we Mizukage want to see you alone." In this case, the dark night is long, the autumn moon is always bright, and it may be a little wrong to say that a man and a woman are alone in a room. But Uchiha didn't think too much about it. In terms of strength, who is his opponent in this ninja world, and he is not afraid of any tricks Terumi Mei will do to him. So he nodded and said, "Okay." When they arrived at the door, the attendant knocked on the door softly and said, "Mizukage, Lord Shenzhen has arrived." Terumi Mei had already changed her clothes and prepared a table of sumptuous dishes, and she looked forward and said, "Please come in." The waiter helped the universe wave Qiye to open the door and said, "Please, Lord Shenzhen." After finishing speaking, BECJ, the waiter also stroked his sleeves and walked out. In this entire bedroom, there are only Shenzhen and Terumi Mei. If this is the case, Shenzhen is a little embarrassed, because through the eyes of God, there is indeed only Terumi Mei around. In this way, it can be said that Terumi Mei has been completely defenseless against him. Advertisement: Shenzhen opened the door softly, and saw Terumi Mei, dressed in pale red clothes, sitting on the top of the seat, surrounded by a table of good wine and delicious food, and waited for Shenzhen to pass. Uchiha Qiye was a little stunned for a while. What was this? As if it was the feeling of the bride and groom entering the bridal chamber. After Uchiha Qiye entered, he walked over a few steps and asked politely, "Why is Mizukage looking for me?" Terumi Mei also calmly gestured for him to sit down. Under the soft moonlight in the palace, Terumi Mei looked extremely charming and affectionate, giving people a feeling of hidden sensuality and purity. This scene was also very enjoyable in the eyes of Uchiha Qiye. Terumi Mei said, "You fought against the 3 top fighters in our country. Although you won, you didn't intend to hurt them at all. I want to thank you for them. Don't care about this little gift." Uchiha Qiye drank it all. But the cosmic wave Qiye took it very politely and said, "Mizukage is so polite, it still makes me feel uneasy." Because since he traveled around the world, although he has seen many beauties, only Terumi Mei's beauty is the most dignified and generous, which makes people unconsciously feel that they cannot be seen from afar. After sitting down, Terumi Mei also poured wine for the cosmic wave Qiye, which shocked the cosmic wave Qiye a little bit. It was incomprehensible that Mizukage of the dignified water country was so kind and polite to him. So Uchiha Qiye nodded and said, "It's just a discussion, of course not taking human life." Cosmic wave Qiye thought to himself, "Let's see what Terumi Mei means." Since Terumi Mei said so, the cosmic wave Qiye naturally must appreciate it in his heart. It seems that this Mizukage has done quite well. Chapter 349: Do you want to learn? I'll teach you. Chapter 349: Do you want to learn? I'll teach you. Terumi Mei said, "The strength of our entire water country is not comparable to that of Lord Shenzhen. Mingren does not speak secretly. Since Lord Shenzhen is so powerful, why do we seek the whole country of water, or other countries?" Speaking of which, Uchiha Qiye doesn't want to play Tai Chi anymore. Although he won't tell the truth, he will still explain his thoughts clearly. Uchiha Qiye said, "I have no idea of plotting any country. I like to travel around the world, make the world my home, and have no desire for personal relationships, so please don't worry about it." Speaking of this, the cosmic wave Qiye continued to say, also, I won't appear since tonight. This world is so big, I have to go elsewhere to see it, but it won't be in the name of God's war. The Battle of the Gods will eventually be a legend, nowhere to be found. Terumi Mei looked at the Battle of Gods in surprise. The meaning of Battle of Gods is that they will disappear in the future. Don't even think about looking for him. In the land of water, it's just a play in the world. It's more than a mystery, feeling missing. So Terumi Mei said, it's the first time I've ever met someone like you, and you don't ask for anything for the sake of fame or gain. It really makes me feel sorry. 99. As soon as Uchiha Qiye heard her words, he knew that the key point should be reached, which must be Terumi Mei's purpose. So Uchiha Qiye asked, excuse me, Mizukage has any regrets? 35. Terumi Mei said, we are in the same line, and we are based on lava style. We are proud of this, and we have prospered from generation to generation, shocking the entire ninja world, but this time I see you use the most powerful lava style, and I really want it. Learn a lesson. I don't know if I can worship Mizukage, you are my teacher. Uchiha Qiye can be considered to understand. Terumi Mei hopes to make Uchiha Qiye a new generation of emperors, and will be bound to the land of water forever. Advertisement, of course he didn't want it. There was nothing in this world that could tie his hands and feet, unless he was pretending. He wouldn't be interested in everything else at all. But Uchiha Qiye seemed to have no reason to refuse such a sincere request. Then choose the lesser of the right, and the cosmic wave Qiye said, I can teach you, but if you are not in the land of water in the future. Terumi Mei already knew that this gods will fight is in all directions, and it is really rare to be taught by others. Katakana middle. Ask for flowers. Katakana middle. Since Shenzan had already agreed to hand it over to her, Terumi Mei naturally stopped asking for anything else, but stood up immediately and said, please take care of the master. Cosmic Bai Qiye doesn't really feel that lava style is a big deal, and said to Terumi Mei, you and I don't need to be a master and a disciple, I just need to give you 1 or 2 pointers. The two talked to each other about the structure of lava style, and how Uchiha Qiye explained those structures and principles to Terumi Mei. Uchiha Qiye fully understands the chakra distribution in Terumi Mei's body through the chakra in his hand and the accumulation of spells for each attribute. Let her sit down, and after some makeover, she said to Terumi Mei, you can try lava style again. Terumi Mei suddenly felt that she had a reborn feeling, a magical power circulating in her body. There are 3 chakra powers in her hands, and they are extremely pure. The 3 powers are intertwined with each other and involuntarily converge into the ultimate lava style soil. Chapter 350 Ina Shiame who got her wish. Chapter 30 Terumi Mei's eyes widened, and she looked at the change of the ultimate lava style in her hands in disbelief. The lava style on which the Kingdom of Water became famous has become 1,000 times stronger than the previous lava style under the processing of God's War. Lava style, which surprised Terumi Mei. And having learned this in a short period of time, Terumi Mei was so moved that she was about to cry, so she said to 857. Uchiha Qiye, God War, you stay in our country of water, anything and everything. I can give you everything you need. Having said that, Uchiha Qiye felt a little embarrassed. So he smiled shyly. At this time, Uchiha Qiye didn't want to pretend at all. He said, I'll leave after tonight, and there will be no deadline, so don't stay any longer. After finishing speaking, Uchiha Qiye got up, bowed slightly to Terumi Mei, and was about to go out. But Terumi Mei couldn't bear to let go of a top genius like this. He clearly discussed that as long as he defeated the 3 major forces of the country of water, he would share the country of water with Terumi Mei. At this time, the battle of gods was unmoved. So Terumi Mei stood up and said to Shenzan's back, you can come back at any time, my promise will be fulfilled, the land of water is mine, but also yours. Uchiha Qiye paused for a moment. He understands human nature, that is, for what he owns, there is no reason to directly divide half of it, so after he defeated the 3 major combat powers of the country of water, he did not mention it at all. At this time, Uchiha Qiye really wanted to go back and see how far his pretending point had reached, whether he was enough to learn Ina Yume. If he could learn a junior Ina Yume, it would be a big profit. After going out, a stone in Terumi Mei's heart fell to the ground. Although she didn't know whether Uchiha Qiye could fulfill it, she believed him. Since people are so sincere, and Cosmic Wave Qiye has the whole world in his heart, it is no big deal to help a country of water, so he gave this promise. But after a few flying, Uchiha Qiye came directly to his bed, and the attendants didn't even see when he came. Unexpectedly, Terumi Mei actually brought it up. It seemed that this woman still counted, so she didn't look back. She continued to walk slowly forward, and when she reached the door, she left a sentence, don't worry, there will be more in the land of water in the future. If anything happens, I will come uninvited. 99 The whole world was silent, and the Cosmic Wave Qiye entered a state of deep meditation. He was pleasantly surprised to find that he finally reached the 550,000 pretense point, and he was able to directly buy and learn Ina Shiame. At this time, there was no one in the bedroom, only Uchiha Zenryu was sitting on his own bed. His eyes narrowed slightly, he let go of all thoughts, and entered the realm of no self, no one, and no sentient beings. Bought a copy of Ina Yami directly from the system. After finishing speaking, the Cosmic Wave Qiye had already arrived at the door. Of course, he knew how important his existence was to the country of water, and he also understood why Terumi Mei was so desperate to keep him here, but to preserve water. It is only the 10,000 years foundation of the country.